We'll get into that throughout the show. 913-912-4810. Again, Chiefs coming up around 11 o'clock. Joel Penfield will join us coming up at noon. One Royal Way podcast. Get his thoughts on what's going on with the Royals, which is mainly just trade deadline day. 5 o'clock today is when the deadline is for the trade. We'll see if the Royals are involved in any other trades today. Moving Lane Thomas and Bailey Falter a couple of days ago for Lucas Braun and Carter Holton. We'll get into the breakdown of that particular trade and some of the comments from J.J. Piccolo on whether or not there will be any other trades that will be made by the Royals. Mick Schaefer will join us in the 1 o'clock hour, KSHB 41 Sports Director. We've got Learned, Funniest, and Best today before the show is over. Royals off today, Chiefs in pads. Again, 913-912-4810 is the text line. So because we'll talk a decent amount of Chiefs later on this hour, and then with the press conferences, I wanted to start off with the Royals and Lane Thomas being moved. If you weren't paying attention to what was going on Twitter and just watching the game, then you knew what took place when Lane Thomas was taken out of the game and then goes in the dugout and is hugging guys and high fives and everything, and or not really high fives, but handshakes and hugs, and it's been fun, it's been real. And then he heads off to Atlanta to play for the Braves. They send over Lucas Braun, 24-year-old, turning 25 this month. And Carter Holton, who's 23 years old, was a second-round pick in the 2024 Major League Baseball draft. Had Tommy John later that year in 2024, missed all of last year, and has pitched minimal amount of innings in his quote-unquote professional career so far. Left-handed pitcher out of Vanderbilt, number 62 overall pick a couple of years ago. Right-handed pitcher, Lucas Braun. Left-handed pitcher, Carter Holton. Feels like Lucas Brown. I mean, with Christian Brown, it sort of changes. Do I say Braun? Do I say Brown? It's the dang Brown family around here that just changed all of my thought process with, is it Ryan Braun or is it Ryan Brown? Is it Christian Braun? Is it Christian Brown? Either way, I think it's pronounced Lucas Braun. And Carter Holton acquired for Lane Thomas. I didn't know what they would get for Lane Thomas, but thankfully, Lane Thomas has performed the way that he has, that they got anything for him. It feels like Lucas Braun is closer to the big leagues, and Carter Holton is maybe throwing a dart at a lower level prospect, a lower level in the minors where the prospect is at right now, not necessarily a lower level prospect. But a guy who's battled injuries, and maybe you hit on a guy that the injuries are behind him, had Tommy John surgery. If it wasn't for the injury-riddled season at Vanderbilt, maybe he's a top 50 pick instead of number 62. Doesn't mean he's going to be any good. Could mean he's going to be a lefty reliever. You don't often see soft-tossing right-handers, but that's what Lucas Braun is described as. Let's start with that trade before we get into the comments of J.J. Piccolo, which I want to get into and talk about, and what we heard from Bob Nightingale as it relates to Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha. Satisfied with the return, with the complete unknown of what it'll be like for Braun and Holton in the Royals organization? To me, it feels a little bit like Bergert and Kolek, with one of them not being close to the big leagues like Bergert and Kolek both were. I think that's more Lucas Braun, and then Carter Holton being a little bit further away. Sterling, what'd you make of the move by the Royals acquiring those and trading Lane Thomas?
Yeah, I was fine with that. I mean, you weren't going to get something crazy back for Lane Thomas. He had gone through another little slump before he got traded, right? So the value is going to go a little wonky here and there. Lucas Braun is now, or Braun, is now the 11th prospect in the Royal system, according to MLB Pipeline. So you got, at least for the Royal system, that's the 11th guy in it now. He's at AAA. We've talked about it, Jack. We've talked who's going to pitch, who are guys. The upside's probably not there as far as like a top of the line guy, but you still need depth pieces, and Lane Thomas was on a 1-year depth piece for the Royals. I don't know how you can be mad about it. I don't know what people thought they were going to receive back for Lane Thomas. I do find it funny that we call him a soft tossing righty when it's 92 to 96 Like he maxes out at 96, but 92 is about where he sits. I love that in today's day and age. That's now a soft tossing righty.
Little Seth Lugo-esque.
A little bit. But basically everything I've seen is he throws a lot of strikes. He's an innings eater. He was one of the most durable starters in the minors of the past 2 seasons, right? Basically, a lot of things I've seen is he could be a back-end rotation piece in Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, it's not really a move that I thought was that interesting. Sure, Lucas Braun could be in the big leagues at some point this year. I mean, Luinder Avila is now on the shelf with forearm tightness or whatever it was, so another arm that is not available and probably won't be available for a couple of weeks. So maybe he does get the call. I mean, there's nobody else you can really turn to down in AAA other than a guy that's been pitching for the majority of the year in AAA. You get a lottery ticket guy thrown in there probably for Bailey Falter, just having big league experience, and that's another arm that the Braves can stash in AAA. It was fine. I don't think it was anything that was groundbreaking. I'm not sure it was one of those moves that I thought, wow, they really got some incredible value here for Lane Thomas. Because at the end of the day, Lane Thomas is a platoon bat. He is viewed as a platoon bat. Bailey Falter is not really a big leaguer anymore. So the Braves were not going to overpay for that. Braun was a guy that was as high as 8th on MLB Pipeline, and he was also, I believe, like 28th or something on Baseball America. So there's a wide range of that. He doesn't have explosive stuff. He's got some good movement. Clearly the Royals really like him. They believe that he can turn into something in the rotation, or maybe he's a bullpen piece at some point this year. But yeah, I mean, if this is the only move you make, which I really hope it's not, you're going to be bringing back a lot of guys that we've never heard of before. I never heard of Lucas Braun before that. I never heard of Holton either. I mean, it's probably what you're going to get for a guy like John Schreiber if you move Starling Marte. The only guys that you could get in return that you might have heard of before would involve Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo, and it's pretty clear at this point they just don't want to accept any of the offers that are being thrown their way.
So you are you convinced those guys stay?
At this point, I mean, to me, J.J. Picollo is not really a smokescreen guy. I really hope I'd be wrong here, but to hear that they've turned down every offer and haven't really considered it, which how truthful that is, I don't really know. I mean, Bob Nightingale has sometimes been too wordy when it comes to some of these reports, and maybe it's just that they really have not gotten that strong of an offer. But you see around baseball right now, I mean, Kevin Gausman is around the same age as Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha. He's had a worse year than both of them, and I thought the Blue Jays got somewhat of a good return for that. So you still have to evaluate the market, and you've got till, 3 o'clock to make some moves? 5 o'clock. Okay, so a little bit longer.
I know. It typically like 3 o'clock is what I always remember.
Late afternoon, but early evening's fine too, and I'd like to see them make more than just this, because this was a move that we all expected, of course. I just wasn't that wowed by it.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I didn't know what to expect from it. And it's like if they get anything for it anyway, it's Lane Thomas, who was a rental player this year, and if you were competing, could be a nice addition to the team to bat against lefties. And you know what? You wouldn't have to go out and trade for that guy, late July if you were in contention. You would already have that guy on your particular roster. And so I was fine with the move, obviously, of Lane Thomas, and I'm fine with trading him because you're out of the playoff hunt. The issue comes in, so we can look at the Lane Thomas deal. We can wonder about Schreiber, Marte, Lynch, but we're probably talking about the same level of player that you'll be getting back, probably a little less for some of those guys. But as J.J. Picollo said, when that Bob Nightingale report that's out there, which if those that don't know, it was a blurb in his overall breakdown of the trade deadline. So the Kansas City Royals have received a ton of interest in starters Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo, but they rebuffed all offers, believing they need them to compete next year. J.J. Picollo says, if you're dealing from a position of depth, then that's a different story. The example I can use is Freddie Fermin last year. The reason why we were comfortable trading Freddie is because we felt like Carter was ready to step in on a team that we felt was ready to compete. So when you look at Wacha, you look at Lugo, Bobby, and Michael, and you name the guys that whoever you want to put in there. But there's a core of players that we believe in, and pitching is still going to determine what our success what our successes are in the future. And if we end up moving another starter, another bullpen piece, now we have a lot of work to do this offseason. We don't mind the work, but then there's the reality of how much can you actually get done. So to get another 4 starters, say, to go get another 5 bullpen arms, that may be more than what we can really do. So we have to be realistic. And if Michael Wacha wasn't good, if Seth Lugo wasn't good, if Noah Cameron wasn't good, that's different. But we believe in those players. We think they can help us compete to win our division and get in the playoffs. So they're a big part of what we're trying to do, and that's the biggest reason why we may hold their value higher than teams do, and what they would give up for them. And typically, in deals like that, it's not always the case. One more little part here, but you've got to remember, too, right now, the teams that are going to try to acquire those players, they don't want to trade off of their major league team right now either. They want to trade prospects. So prospects right now, while they are good at times for where we are in our timeline, getting a bunch of prospects back isn't the most ideal thing for guys that have such a prominent role in your team. So there's J.J. Piccolo echoing the same things that we've heard over the last month or so.
Was that JJ or was that Dayton Moore?
That's my issue, is this feels a lot like end of era Dayton Moore of, no, we can compete next year. No, we're close to competing next year. And the words there that I, reading the transcript, that it stood out to me because I thought Sterling was going to lose a gasket when he heard it. And it was...
Believing in Seth Lugo?
No. Said, and that's the biggest reason why we may hold their value higher than other teams do, which is one of your pet peeves of the Royals and other teams that view their own players with higher value than other teams do and not willing to move them because you've placed a higher value on that particular guy than what other teams are telling you what the value really is, which should be an indication of what that player is and what that player may do for your team. If teams aren't willing to give up something that you feel like would be worth it for Michael Wacha to pitch the rest of the year for them and next year, and that's a team that's thinking, we will make the playoffs, why is it then a player next year that will be one of the reasons why you make the playoffs? Other teams are saying, this is what we value this guy as, and with that contract, so we're willing to give you this. Well, that's not good enough for the value. This guy can help us make the playoffs. Okay, yeah, he can help us make the playoffs too, and we're actually in a position to do that. You got to go through a full off season next year, figure out your rotation, and I can make an argument as to the more you have to figure out your rotation, the more likely you should be to trade those players. Not afraid of the work, that's fine, but if you got to find 4 starters or 5 bullpen pieces, I mean, that's a lot of work to do. So finding 2 and 5 is less work? Yeah, you got to find those guys. But if you trade Wacha and Lugo, now you got to find 4 starters. You are telling me that you have to find 2 starters this offseason and those bullpen pieces and stay healthy. And if you're telling me all those things have to happen for you to compete, you're actually telling the truth of what you believe you need to compete. And it feels, as you said, it feels Dayton Moore end of era-esque with this. That looking in the mirror and seeing this roster, how bad the bullpen is, and simply chalking it up to injuries, it's what they did last year. Well, we had a lot of injuries that cost us, and we were 3 or 4 games away. Well, they had a lot of injuries, and we were 20 games away. 14 in the division, 11 in the wild card. But you get the point. We were that many games away from making the playoffs. And what is fool's gold to me is you have heard this team say throughout the season, when we joked about it being early and this is a bad American League and why you can stay in the race is because the American League sucks. It's very hard to weigh, on one hand, you saying, we can still compete this year, and this is a couple of months ago. We can still compete this year because the American League is so bad. Yet the American League is so bad and you're one of the worst teams. To then, on the other hand, say, we can keep these guys in place and compete next year, assuming the American League is going to be just as bad. The issue is that the other 14 teams in the American League, they also get the opportunity to improve this year. They also get the opportunity to be less injured next year. they get that same opportunity the Royals do to go and improve. So in a awful American League, and you're this bad, to say a couple of other things change and we're right in it. Okay, you're right in it. An awful American League. You are banking on the injuries, you're banking on success of guys that are aging, and you're banking on 14 other American League teams that don't make the right decisions, and it's another crappy American League next year. That's a lot to be banking on instead of their teams interested, and can you bring value back? Because there's a way that you can weigh it, and I'll bring a little bit of the Chiefs into this. We look at what Patrick Mahomes is and how much is left in his career. And you don't want to go into a year and say, man, you're just going to punt this year and you're going to lose a year of Patrick Mahomes. Well, no, you don't really want to do that. It's a capped year. Anytime you have Patrick Mahomes, a quarterback, you've got an opportunity to win. A little bit different. The Bobby Witt conversation of, I mean, do you really want to waste 2027 when you've got Bobby Witt? You only have him for a finite number of years. My argument would be, I don't want to waste 2027. But I don't want to be foolish about 2027 so that you waste 27 and 28. So if you are realistic about what 27 is, it gives you a better chance to not be wasting 28 and 29, chasing what you could have done if you were realistic about 27.
Well, that's just what they are. They're not realistic time and time again. They still think Seth Lugo is the guy that finished second in the Cy Young Award. They still think Cole Reagans is the guy that finished fourth in the Cy Young Award. This is who they are. They base their decisions off of outlier seasons. I say it time and time again, and clearly that's what they view Seth Lugo as. Now, again, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, but, and again, right, Jack, maybe it is some smokescreen that we've not seen from JJ, but it feels so Dayton Moore-esque, and you're looking at a guy that, well, we count on him. A guy who keeps getting shelled. He had 3 good starts, but...
Although if your first baseman playing right field reads the ball better.
Sure. But
that line looks better for Lugo, but he did load the bases.
Yeah, his walk rates skyrocket.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Savant, and if you're sitting here going, he looks close.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Bright dark blue does not mean good.
Yeah. No.
I don't understand the Royals' thought process right now. JJ's biggest concern for most of us was, is he going to just follow what Dayton Moore did at the very end? And early on, he didn't. Early on, JJ, I thought, did a pretty good job of being more transactional, if you will, but he's now starting to fall into the same pitfalls, and you're looking at a team go towards 100 losses, and I guess he thinks next year is going to be the complete opposite.
You know, my issue with the comments was more so about realistically what you can get done in an offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't care about, I care that they believe they can compete next year. But the only logical way that happens is if you have an unbelievably aggressive offseason. I mean, filling out this roster with high-end talent and saying, okay, well, we're going to make sure that we don't have any worries about the pitching staff, which is still hard to do. You're going to have injuries. Guys regress. When the Tigers signed Framber Valdez, they thought they were going to have Skubal as their one, and then you go right into Framber Valdez. Then you have Casey Mize, and then you've got Melton and all these high-level guys. Hasn't worked out for them. They've now been a seller at this deadline. And the Royals, you know, maybe they're not getting the greatest offers on Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo. I don't believe they're getting multiple top 100s for them. But to hear that, you know, if you trade them, well, can we actually go out there and spend the money and get some of these guys? To hear that, that's alarming, because now you're already, and he said, well, we don't mind the work. You're already putting that self-doubt in there of, if we have to replace 8 guys, I know that's tough to do. But look, the only way that this season is stomachable for all of us out here is if you go into the offseason and do what you've never done before. Dayton Moore's delusion of the final couple years, and Dayton Moore still brought 2 American League pennants and a World Series. Like, he wasn't some dunce. He clearly was evaluating talent properly in the past, but at the very end, he was maybe putting too much stock into Whit Merrifield, who was a very good player, but he also was nearing his mid-30s, and they were viewing him as a cornerstone piece, whereas JJ at least has Bobby Witt Jr. and Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen and Garcia to say, hey, this is a core we believe in. But you're not going to have that core playing well together every single year unless you take some pressure off their shoulders. There are guys you can bring in to raise the floor of this rotation, to raise the floor of this bullpen. But you have to be on the same page, ownership and front office. If John Sherman's going out there and saying, JJ, I'll give you the money to go and get these high-level free agents, we cannot be scared if they fail. Because as crazy as this sounds, and maybe I'll have a different opinion 365 days from now, but if they go out there and sign Casey Mize and let's say like Robbie Ray, I'm two random names in free agency, and Robbie Ray sucks and Casey Mize regresses, we're going to be mad that happened. We'll say, how could they give out that contract? But I can live with that over not doing anything, running back the same group, and then it not working out and saying, well, we didn't like the market, right? Like the Giants signed Harrison Bader, who we had those conversations in January and February of they should give Harrison Bader a deal to be their center fielder over Kyle Isbell. He's getting in scooter accidents and hurting his already injured foot, and now the Giants badly want to avoid that contract. That happens, but the fear of those things happening can't outweigh your aggressiveness. The Royals have rarely had an offseason where they said, okay, we need a left fielder. Isaac Collins has been fine. We need to upgrade there. Do you give Randy Arozarena, Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki a 3 or 4 year deal on the off chance that he might not be very good 2 years from now? Maybe that's the route you take. Do you give Casey Mize number one money? He's not even the number one in Detroit, but that's kind of how you have to capitalize if you're the Royals. And if they go into this offseason, I know it's going to be tricky with the labor disputes, and is there going to be a lockout? You got to work quickly before that lockout actually happens. But if you go in there and don't do anything, and we're talking about this team in spring training with Noah Cameron, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Luinder Avila, Stephen Kolek, Lucas Braun, then we can chalk it up and go, you didn't try to compete. And now we know this is going to be another rebuild, and we're not even sold just yet if you know how to rebuild this properly. They rebuilt quickly from 23 to 24 because they spent money. They went and got Lugo and Wacha. They were a little bit more aggressive. They overhauled the bullpen. They cannot be competitive in any way, shape, or form unless they have the most aggressive offseason we have ever seen. And that's asking a lot. I know that's asking a lot here, and I have my doubts that's going to happen. But you can't lose 95 to 100 games and go, well, it was injuries why we lost them. No, it wasn't. You still had severe underperforming players that dictated your entire season before the injuries. You want to chalk it up to that? That can be a part of it. But Matt Strahm has been, by wins above replacement, the worst player in baseball. You're paying him $8.5 million. You traded away Jonathan Bowen, who could have helped your bullpen, but that also can't deter you from going out there and making another trade or a big deal for a free agent because you missed on this one. You got to find the right guys this go around. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here talking about a team that's selling yet again in 2027.
So on the other side of the break, I want to make an NFL trade comparison of what we've seen Brett Veach do that I think JJ, and obviously different economical parts of it, despite people that are talking about Tariq Skubal and the Dodgers that don't understand the economics of baseball. But I want to talk about what I think JJ is missing when he discusses a team without Wacha and Lugo and the work they would have to do this offseason. We'll talk about that in comparing what Brett Veach has done a couple of times that JJ Piccolo is missing in the thought process of specifically and strictly and solely about 27. More Zone next.
All right, listen up, everyone, because FanDuel is giving new customers up to $1,000 in bet resets. If we are talking baseball, we are talking FanDuel. Here is how it works. You bet $5 daily and unlock $200 in bet resets every
So I mentioned there's a NFL trade scenario that I wanted to look at in comparison to Waka and Lugo. The Chiefs, I think we can all agree, especially when you've got a guy right now, the number 6 overall pick, that's wearing the yellow jersey and is injured. And Christian Fulton, when it's time to go and put the 11-on-11 with the pads, is starting in front of Mansour Delane. I think we can all agree that the Kansas City Chiefs right now, at cornerback specifically, are not as good as what they were last year if you had McDuffie and Watson there, as opposed to Mansour Delane and Noah Williams. They could be the same, we'll see. But from what we have in front of us, the evidence we have in front of us, and completely unknown about the number 6 overall pick, and Noah Williams that showed flashes at times, they're not as good. But trading Trent McDuffie wasn't just not having Trent McDuffie. It was the draft picks and the money that you got for Trent McDuffie. You didn't pay him that money. You can spend that elsewhere, and you got the draft picks. And that's what I think J.J. Picola was missing here, a part of this, when he says, if you don't have Waka and Lugo, the whole somebody's got to pitch next year. Well, now you got to go and find 4 pitchers in your starting rotation. That's tough to do. It's tough to do if you had $34 million tied up to 2 players in Waka and Lugo. But you don't just trade Waka and Lugo for prospects and then you lose that money too. No, you get that money back for next year. The $20 million for Lugo and the $14 million for Waka. So you get $34 million plus the guys you traded for Waka and Lugo, or one more year of Waka and Lugo that you're paying $34 million for. The Kansas City Chiefs, in the position they were in with Mahomes and Creed and Trey and Chris Jones, weren't structurally sound enough in the salary capped era to then pay that money for Trent McDuffie, as opposed to making the trade, drafting a cornerback, spending the money elsewhere on different players, and then also the draft picks on different players. Yet the Kansas City Royals, who are in even more dire position, can look at it and go, no, we'll turn down whatever prospects we can get in return and the $34 million we have to play with, so we have Waka and Lugo making $34 million on this team. Those aren't $34 million production numbers from what you're getting from Waka and Lugo.
Waka's worth the 14.
Waka's worth the 14.
Waka's definitely been worth it. I don't think there's really an argument.
But I think if you trade
there.
Waka, you might as well trade Lugo.
Well,
because it's hard to say we're going to trade Waka, but somebody's got to pitch next year. Now you need 3 guys. Okay, well then move Lugo.
Keep
because
Lugo, you still need 4 guys because he's no longer what he once was. That's pretty damn
but he's
clear.
Good once, as good as he ever was.
And the thing with Lugo is just everyone asks him to eat the contract.
No, there's no way the Chiefs or the Royals will eat the $20 million.
Well, I know. That's my point. And so if they're...
But that's where it's a salary dump to me, No,
I agree.
If somebody's willing to do that.
Yes.
But if there is interest, Sterling, in Lugo and Waka, but the Royals say, no, our value is higher on those guys, you're also valuing the $20 million you have to pay him.
You should be. You better be.
Yeah, because that's part of it.
I mean, the Waka one makes some sense to keep in the sense of I would prefer him to get traded because he has the most value. But again, if you told me you signed a guy with a 3.5 ERA who's going to give you 170 innings for 14 mil as a starter, you'd say, hell yeah, sign me up. I mean, I think we'd all say that, right?
Yeah, you gotta
be right.
You got a little bit of predict the future, and it's tough to do, but it's what you pay GMs for, right? I mean,
yes.
Michael Walker has been really good this year. We also can acknowledge that he's going to finish, assuming he stays healthy, and knock on wood. And goodness, they just need someone to stay healthy the rest of the way. But he's going to finish with 180 to 190 innings. I believe the physical toll, even though Lugo didn't say this, but Seth Lugo threw 200 innings in 2024. Then in 2025, in the second half, coincidentally, when he signed the extension, he hit a wall. I know there's a long layoff in between seasons and you have an entire year, but at 34 years old, if you throw north of 185 innings, it should show up the next year when you are maybe pacing for another 190. 24 and 25-year-olds, they can go 200 innings, 220 innings, 210 innings. They're built to do that. Waka and Lugo are not. If you choose to hang on to him and he blows up next year and he's got a 5-something ERA in the first 100 innings, yet again, you've shot yourself in the foot and you're trying to find a way to replace him. You cannot be, and you also can't be fearful of, well, we need to replace 4 guys here. What did you go out there and acquire Stephen Kolk and Ryan Bergert for? To eventually take somebody's spot in the rotation. I know it's tough to do that. Bergert coming off of Tommy John. Lord knows what Stephen Kolk's going to be coming off of because we haven't heard much of that since. Chris Bubich is gone. Cole Reagans won't be ready till midseason. I get you have those problems. But you have to start evaluating who your rotation is going to be moving forward. You've likely gotten the best from Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo already. If they're your number 3 and number 4, okay. If it prevents you from going out there and getting a number 1 or number 2 because they're still on the books financially, then you got to move them.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't afford Casey Mize or Shoto Imanaga or Robbie Ray or trying to think of a couple other guys that'll be declining options. I know Ray's guy, Rasmussen, he's got a opt-out or a club option or whatever it would be. He could be a free agent. I like him a lot. Can you afford him if you still have Waka and Lugo? I don't want to hear the front office say they can't because those guys are on the books here. I want to be pleasantly surprised today. I would love at the last minute because we're seeing some of these pitchers with big contracts being moved. I mean, hell, the White Sox took on all of Luis Castillo's money and sent the prospects back to Seattle there. You should be able to get a decent return for Michael Wacha. I'm sure there's some good offers there. You can't be too picky with them, though.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back on the other side. We believe we'll have the pressers with the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll hear from Andy Reid. We'll hear from Trey Smith, George Karlaftis, and Shamari Connor all will be at the podium. So maybe a little bit of a shorter practice there with the pads today. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. More Zone next.
keep him out of contact. And right now that's important until that thing heals up. Footwork and all that is great. He'll do all that, no problem. Just wait until it's healed up.
Last one, Nate.
It seems to me that you guys have put more of an emphasis on working under center. What's going into that, and what are you trying to see about the offense in that sort of aspect?
Yeah, we've always mixed it. I think that's a healthy thing, you know. So, I mean, it's not, there's no reason why or what, but other than we have some good stuff out of that, and we want to try to use it.
Does that just lead to more, I guess, reps?
Nate, you want to know if it adds to more runs and play action in Nate? Well, no, I mean, listen, we're going to mix. We're going to mix. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to change that part. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, man.
All right, good.
I think Andy a little annoyed there at the end of like, well, look, I mean, is there going to be a difference to it? Well, look, I mean, Xavier Worthy said there are some things you're not doing as much this year. So if you're not doing as much of certain things, what are the main things that you're doing? With Kenneth Walker running the football under center, and yeah, we're going to do some runs and play action. We're going to add those in, or you know, there's going to be different things that we're doing at this. Here's Trey Smith.
Incredible, and you know, it's always a challenge to try to go out there and push yourself and strive for perfection, but you know, every time you're gonna fall short a little bit. But I think just getting back on the grind of it, man, it's day one in pass. Yeah, Peter's really talented, man. Sky's the limit for him in terms of his hand utilization, speed, power. He's really shot guy, and he's young and he's figuring out, but he has a willingness to learn. You know, and I really enjoyed the way he stepped into this program, this organization, and how he's trying to turn himself into a great player. But definitely has an outstanding future ahead of him. Just really excited to help him in his development where I can.
Just wanted to, is there a kind of a different feeling when the pads come on, kind of a ramped up feeling about practice?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, you have high rate of speed, more violent in the game. It's easier to simulate things when you have shells on or just jerseys and shirts, but now we actually have surface to grab on. Now we can actually hit and utilize force and really go full bore at it. So it helps in that terms, in that aspect.
And it seems Khalil's you guys on the field behind the scenes. What did you show you that he fit the asset?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Khalil's been hungry since day one, eager to learn, curious to learn as well. Works extremely hard. He's a guy that's a strong man, but I think he has a real aspiration, a real want to be great, and a real want to develop himself as a player and find a role in this team.
You were the guy who started from the get-go as a rookie. Can you kind of go back to that moment, just remember the grind out here, maybe which one did you like?
Yeah, you take me back to a nightmare. No, St. Joe's was a trial by fire is like the best way to put it. You come out here, you sort of know what to expect. You know, the collegiate level training camp is something, but you know, the NFL, it's that much faster. The details are that much faster when you got to block a guy, an all-pro like Chris Jones every single time at 3-tech, and had a lot of welcome to the league moments, a lot of learning moments, a lot of tough long days, not a lot of good days, but you know, a lot of learning moments, man. And I think the ultimate thing is you just got to keep coming out here and pushing, man. It's a consistency aspect. It's waking up and fighting something every single day. Like, damn, I'm going to sleep. I know I'm waking back up. I have to go do this thing over and over again.
You mentioned going up against Chris Jones that last minute wonder going up against him. Just every time you go up against him, what are you seeing out of him? What are you seeing out of yourself to know that's what you want to think he's good?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is no doubt one of the best defensive tackles in this league, and he's been that way since the day I stepped in the league. So it's always going to be a tremendous challenge. I think with guys like that, you just have to really hone in your technique. Sometimes with Chris, you don't block him as normally as other guys, so you got to sort of figure that out as well. But every year it's almost a learning process because he's going to pick up on my game, so now I got to adjust this here. I got to tweak this here. But, you know, 9-5 is obviously a phenomenal player. The drop-off isn't there. So it's like for more so me, like getting up and trying to stay with him, man, and do my job to the best of my ability. But, you know, iron sharpens iron, so just go at it every single day. And I know I'm going against the best, so it's going to pay off in dividends when the season rolls around. So I'm not going to see many 95s out there.
How eager are you and the rest
the interior guys for this year, just given you have longer springs and back right around.
Yeah, we're excited to establish a run game, but I think we're excited to establish a run game every single year. It's something that as an offensive lineman, you love to do that. It keeps your defensive line and defense honest, man. You make them earn the right to rush the passer in that way, so you keep them on their toes. And, it's definitely special, man, watching Kenneth, Amari, Bashard, all of our running backs come in, the rookies as well. They're doing a phenomenal job. Coach Murray's doing a great job. Keep coaching them up and teaching them as well. But it's exciting, man, as an O-lineman, having that aspiration to run the ball. And like I said, it's a field thing. It takes time to develop. The chemistry not only with us as a front five, but also with the running back as well. Fitting the scheme, the gaps, the timing. But overall, man, we have plenty of days in camp to get it right. So really excited about it.
We'll go last four: Steven, Vahe, Taylor, and Mark.
As he mentioned with the addition of Walker and who you already have on the offensive line, lining up under center a little bit more with that, how effective you guys, how effective can you be running the football and being a more physical team?
Yeah, I think we can definitely be more effective, like you said, in that how we're running the ball, man, wanting to get after people, reduce them physically. I think really just I always quote it, and I think Steve Hutchinson said it at like a symposium one time, but, making the defensive line and defense, earn the right to rush the passer. You keep them honest, man. If they're just able to pin their ears back and, hell, they know you're going to throw it every time, it makes it a tremendously tough job, and really it's a hard duty as an O-lineman when you know that they know what's coming next. And, when you have that run game, you're able to now the offense is running all cylinders. That's what we've always wanted to do. That's what we've always aspired to do. So for us, man, it's just about us doing our job, one person at a time, one play at a time. And as a whole unit, we'll have success. And that's just how you have to look at it.
Trey, you mentioned year 6. I wonder if you have any sort of sense of yourself as having become one of the longer tenured guys all of a sudden. And does anything come with that in terms of being that sort of veteran at this point?
Yeah, I think a responsibility to pick up young guys and to help my team everywhere I can. I mean, I'm just here to help my team. Something about me personally, no accolades or anything like that. I'm just a soldier here on a mission to help my army get to where they need to go, man. I'm just here to impart wisdom. I have a lot of young guys up front. Anything they need. We talked about how I struggled in my first training camp, but I had a lot of older guys, veterans and OGs that helped me along the path. So if anyone needs help in that regard and that resource, man, I'm just here to make sure I can be of value, to them, but also to my team and just do my role, do my job to the best of my ability. My best is good enough at the end of the day, and we have 11 guys doing that at a time. We're going to be pretty damn good.
Last one, Taylor and Mark.
One of those younger guys, Josh, his second year here, how are they seeing his growth on the offense?
Yeah, Josh is just so freaking talented. Really just inspiring to be a great player, man. He's hungry for it. He's really been putting a lot of work in, and, he's going to continue to develop. I think the world of Josh. I think he's a great dude. But also just like the way he stepped up and prepared this year, just really excited to keep watching him grow and also just anything I could do for him, to be, at his service in a way. It's where I can help him out in any capacity that I can. But just really excited for Josh Simmons. Kingsley as well, doing a phenomenal job, man, on that left side. It's just really cool and fun to watch.
The first day of Pat and also a referee crew was out here today. What was it kind of like to have them here? And does it feel a lot more like real football now?
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's always cool to have the refs here and to have more of a decompressed setting. You ask questions and, not having a flag for holding and just asking why. It's like, okay, you have to break that down a little bit. But they're always super helpful. They always provide so much insight into the game and little nuanced questions that we can ask and little adjustments here or there for the year. So it's always advantageous to have the crew here, and they always do a phenomenal job for our camp. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, there's Trey Smith. You're listening to KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, WHB Kansas City. We'll hear from George Karlaftis and Shamari Connor coming up in a little bit. Trey Smith with high praise for Peter Woods. One of the videos that's out there with Matt Derrick, who said that Peter Woods was the defensive champion in today's padded practice. And one of the clips, and I'm glad they asked Trey Smith about Peter Woods, one of those clips was that Trey Smith got the one-on-ones. Trey Smith just stonewalled Peter Woods. They went right back at it. Peter Woods won. And then after it was over, they're back in like the back portion talking, and then both of them tap the other guy on the helmet, and Peter Woods runs back to the defense. That was a pretty cool moment to see. Here is, who's up now? Shamari Connor? Shamari Connor.
How much more comfortable are you playing that safety position right now?
I'm very comfortable playing safety. It's exciting to, be in one spot. I'm always ready to do whatever the teams need, but, I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for this season.
Did it sort of hit you pretty roughly in the offseason just with losing Trent, losing Jalen, that you're one of the veteran guys in this room? And I just wonder if that changes your mentality out here.
Oh yeah, it definitely changed my mentality. You know, we got a lot of younger guys that came in. We got a lot of older veteran guys that's still learning. So, you know, I'm kind of in that middle piece to help guys out. You know, kind of bridge that gap.
The defensive back room is, and just being able to do everything that Staggs wants you to do.
You know, like I said, I think we're a group full of guys that's eager to learn, eager to get better every day, and you know, a group of hungry guys. So I'm excited.
Shamari, you're in a contract year, obviously, and you saw some of the guys in front of you in the contracts they got this offseason. Anything like that enter your mind about, you know, what this means to you and what it could mean after the season?
You know, right now I'm just taking one day at a time, just getting better, focusing on the season, and I'm worried about that later.
He talked about the DB room and how you guys are a lot more quiet than he's used to, man. Is it taking a little bit more time to get used to guys, the new guys coming in, and you know, showing your emotion?
Not really. You know, that's just kind of a lot of guys' personality. You know, I'm more of a laid back guy. You know, I talk now and then, but you know, I'm really laid back. So you know, it's a good group, great group of guys. We got a lot of different personalities. So we're definitely building each and every day.
Who's that more vocal guy in the room?
I'm not sure. It's hard. You know, we got a lot of quiet guys for real, but you know, we attacking every day, getting better.
Jabari, when one-on-one with Travis Kelce, a few other guys, but when it comes to 8-7, you know, what is it about him that you're able to learn some things about yourself as well as you go up against the guy?
You know, every rep against Trav is a great learning experience. You know, he's been doing it for a long time, so it's the best work when I'm getting work with him for sure.
Jabari, how does it help you when you play safety? What is it? What's it bring out your skill set when you're able to play back?
You know, I can do a lot of things. You know, I like to, you know, come in, feel the run game, get back and play in space, be able to see the field more. So I like playing safety. It's exciting.
What does it mean to have a guy like Gutierrez Sneed back? He brings a certain edge and a mentality to that secondary.
Oh yeah, definitely brings that. You know, I'm excited. You know, that's my vet when I came in, so I'm definitely excited to have LJ back and in the room with us.
What's it been like getting to know Alohi and just both on and off the field?
It's been great. You know, Alohi is a great guy. You know, he kind of quiet, laid back like myself. You know, he eager to learn every day, eager to get better every day, so it's exciting.
Like to get all the guys together for dinners and get-togethers and everything like that. Is that been kind of an important thing to do?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we did a lot during OTAs. You know, got a lot of guys together. You know, here at camp, we sit down at lunch, sit down at dinner together and talk and, you know, hang out as much as we can.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you.
All right, there's Shamari Connor. We'll hear from George Karlaftis here in just a second, but Shamari Connor being asked a lot about playing safety as a safety this year and how much this offseason leading into this year is different. He's now a vet, younger guys out there, and somewhat of a different position. Here's Karlaftis.
I mean, definitely, you know, just it's as real as we're going to get, you know, to, you know, as close to the game as we're going to get. So definitely, I would say.
George, we got a close look at Mason Thomas and Peter Woods today. What have you seen with their development? Do you see it making an instant impact?
You know, I would say those guys have a lot of humility. You know, they're trying to do stuff the right way. They're approaching it as professionals. You know, they're working hard, and you could tell they love football. You know, that coupled with, you know, their natural raw abilities and, you know, their willingness to take coaching and to get better, I think they're going to both be great players and great additions to this team.
George, what's the difficulty of going up against Josh?
Josh is a great player. You know, obviously had a great season last year. So that was out a few games and stuff like that. But, you know, he's a great player. You know, obviously he's strong as an ox and he's got feet like a ballerina. So, you know, he's very good and very talented. You know, we've had our battles and, you know, we've talked and iron sharpens iron, you know. So this is what this period is for getting better, you know, trying to go a little more on that side, you know, to take my game to the next level. And, you know, just talking, you know, just not just him and I, but, you know, really all the O-line and the D-line, I'm sure the other positions are doing that too, you know, talking and figuring out, okay, maybe I'm seeing this, maybe I'm seeing that, and just, you know, ultimately trying to get better in every way we can. You know, that's what this period's about.
George, you talked about before when you came into the league, it was Frank Clark who, you know, kind of took you under his wing, and you got a bunch of young guys.
We got a lot of young guys.
Yeah, who are you kind of mentoring right now?
really there's a whole lot of guys, and they all it's funny, like after these practices, they'll all go straight to the iPads. That's what I used to do too. So it's kind of funny looking back on it. But they'll go to the iPads, watch the tape, and they'll come up to me, they'll come up to Chris, like, okay, hey, what do you think about this rep? What do you think I could do better? And those guys they're hungry. They're hungry for knowledge, hungry to get better. We've developed a routine after practice with Coach Braden of doing these hands, to really, and then doing them every single day so we can stack and really doing stuff that we can apply to our games. So doing that on the field, coupled with all the conversations we'll have in the meeting rooms, outside of the meetings and stuff like that. All those guys are just so hungry and they want to get better and they want to be great and they love ball. So love having those guys around. They're all great additions.
You kind of was that from some of the things Frank told you to kind of give them?
For sure. I've been fortunate to have a lot of great older guys around me. Now it's like I'm the older guy in the D line room. It's kind of like, whoa, because I had Frank and I had Carlos, and then guys like Mike Dana and Charles O'Menahue, and we've had a lot of great guys throughout the years. So taking from what I've learned from all of those guys, trying to make it, and lead in my own different way, and trying to teach these guys, all right, this is what I do well, and this is what I think I could help you with, and and also trying to learn from them too, because everybody has their own different skill sets. So just trying to help in any way I can. But yeah, I definitely taken a lot of the lessons I learned from Frank and Carlos. Actually today, there was a couple things that some of the rookies were asking me. I was like, yeah, Carlos taught me that, so.
How's your hand recovered after going through that surgery?
Hand's great. George, with Ashton down, Felix has got more opportunities. I guess what has it told you that maybe he can make an impact here?
Well, Felix is going. Felix is humming. He worked really, really hard this offseason. He and I got together a few times. He really wants it. This is he's feeling like this is his chance. This is his moment. He's got a lot to prove and he knows it. So he's doing everything he can to improve every single day and show, not just Kansas City, but the whole league what he's got and what he's made of.
When you say get together defense, like you got together in the field together to work.
Yeah, in the offseason, yeah.
Last one, Nate.
When it comes to the entire group, George, from your perspective, what intrigues you most? I know it's just day one and past, but about the potential of what the group could be this season.
I think I like that question because I think, and Coach Reed will speak about this too, I'm sure. But this year is all about mindset and mentality for us. Our group we feel like it starts with our group. It starts up front. And on defense, we can take this defense wherever we want as a front. Stopping the run, helping the guys at the back. So really starting with us and really putting the focus on handling everything we need to make it easier on the linebackers, easier on the DBs, so we can have the best season possible. We want to get back to the promised land. We want to get back to getting all those sacks. We want to stop the run as well as we can, and we're motivated as ever. So,
thanks, George.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, there's George Karlaftis. A number of things to take away from the press conferences today. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about things we heard from Andy Reid, Trey Smith, George Karlaftis, Shamari Connor. That comes up next. Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Major League Baseball trade deadline coming up at 5 o'clock Central Time. We'll see if any moves are made today by the Kansas City Royals, whether that involves Waka, Lugo, Schreiber, Marte, Lynch, etc. We'll see. We'll find out. 913-912-4810. We'll hear from Joel Penfield coming up at noon. Let's talk a little bit about things that we heard from Andy Reid, Trey Smith, Shamari Connor, and George Karlaftis. I want to start with Andy Reid and the injury updates. He said Cyrus Allen, day-to-day, probably a couple days. They got to get the swelling out of the shin injury for Cyrus Allen. And then later clarified as well that Xavier Worthy also day-to-day.
How do you have your shin swell? That feels nearly impossible.
Just a collision, leg to leg. Luckily, it wasn't a broken shin.
No, I know. I'm just
so but yeah, it certainly looked really painful. I hadn't seen the video of it, but the way that Cyrus Allen was moving looked like he was in a whole lot of pain. Couple things with Andy Reid there towards the end of his press conference. He did mention that Josh Simmons got his weight up, so working on the small things. Assignments, footwork, technique, things like that, honing in on those things. But, he's strong. He's got his weight up. Talked about Brashard Smith running with the he was the first running back in after Kenneth Walker today, and said, we know we can run the ball. We know we can catch. He's got to work on the small things, protecting, and the intricacies on the routes that he runs.
Emmett Johnson, you mean?
They said Brashard Smith.
Brashard Smith, sorry.
Brashard Smith was the one that was running with the right after Kenneth Walker.
Wow, that is
so
is it the biggest surprise? Does it matter? I mean,
I think it could also be one of those to where let's see early on. I mean, let's if he's improved and he's done these things in the offseason, let's get him some reps because he might be a guy that's at the end, because I highly doubt they'll cut Emmett Johnson. Yeah. I don't think they'll be cutting Amari DiMarcado because they need somebody that's experienced in pass protection on third down. And with Emmett Johnson being a rookie and Brashard Smith not necessarily being all that good at doing it and needing to continue to improve on it. So, you know what? Get Brashard Smith in there with the ones and see if some of those things that he's been working on can show in a padded practice. Because he may be on the chopping block, or he may be a guy that, hey, do we keep him for special teams? But then he can also offer this if he's running the ball. So we'll see. The last thing he got into, though, was being asked about running plays from under center.
Yeah.
Whether that be running the ball or play action and under center. He got annoyed a little bit with the line of questioning because it was question, answer, follow-up, answer. And the follow-up from Andy Reid was, well, we're going to run the ball, But his answer, when asked about plays under center, and he said, quote, we've always mixed it. It's a healthy thing. You got good stuff out of it, and we want to use it. What's your definition of mixing under center plays versus shotgun? Are you talking about goal line situations? 4th and 1, 3rd and short, midfield plus territory on the edge of field goal range, but do you go for it? Is that what you're talking about with under center plays, that you've always mixed them in? Because when it comes to neutral plays or neutral downs, neutral parts of the field, mixing is, you know what? If they are cooking, they mixed in an ingredient, but it's just a dash, a little dash of salt. Bam, little dash of salt right there, a little dash of under center. We mix it in. I mean, you've got the main ingredients, and then a little dash. See, look, it's mixed in. It's all mixed in. Like, no.
He did not seem happy with that question.
Oh, but I think he's frustrated with, I think he's starting to get frustrated with the constant questions about running the ball, running the ball, running the ball, running the ball. You've got Kenneth Walker running the ball, under center, running the ball. The offensive lineman that you have, run the ball. Patrick Mahomes handing off, running the ball. Play action, under center, running the ball. I think he's getting annoyed by it, quite frankly. But you know what? That's what happens when you've been doing the same thing for the last couple of years. And in the offseason, Patrick Mahomes talks about the scheme adjustment. Travis Kelce, in discussing why he was returning to play another year, just a quick little blurb of, and Andy Reid, we knew he was going to make his adjustments. Patrick was going to... okay, so that was a quick little thing. Brett Veach, when you've got the interior that we have on the offensive line, you want to take advantage of the strength and run the ball. Clark Hunt, well, with Andy making some adjustments and, that offensive line. Brett Veach, again, EB. How many people do we have to hear that's not named Andy Reid talk about the adjustments and things that Andy Reid has done to scheme, play calling, whatever it might be, from a year ago or the last couple of years to now, before Andy Reid weighs in on it? And he's been asked a lot of different ways to sort of get to, yeah, we're going to be doing more of this. And obviously, whether he says it or not, it doesn't matter. And we won't know that until Monday Night Football against the Broncos. Because they could go under center 90% of the time in all 3 preseason games and then come out and shotgun against Denver the whole time. We'll find out if there have been tweaks, adjustments, a shot of adrenaline, whatever you want to call it, to the offense that's a little bit different from the last couple of years when the regular season starts. But it's a legit line of questioning, and it's one of the biggest issues of the offseason for this team if they are going to return to being even close to what they were in 2022, to where it is not everything has to be on Patrick Mahomes' shoulders, and it's on Patrick Mahomes' shoulders when the starting wide receivers today were Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Royals, and a fella named Armstrong.
I get why he's frustrated, because even if he is going to run for more under center, he's not going to say that.
Mm-hmm. And he keeps getting asked about it.
And he keeps getting asked about it. And I understand the questioning because we didn't see it, and it felt obvious. You brought up the numbers last year. You did the research, brought up the numbers, and there was a clear line of demarcation of what was versus not effective under versus at a shotgun. But
also plays from under center, they were last.
And so there's your mix. There's your dash, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard situation because you can't prove it right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, look what we're doing, run under center now. He's not going to tell you he's going to run under center, but he has to understand that those questions should be getting asked. The run game has to be better this year. It will be better. The frustrating part is, even if they run out of shotgun, the run game will still be better because Kenneth Walker is just still such an upgrade over Pacheco. But where is he most comfortable? You don't bring in the Super Bowl MVP and then say, hey, we're going to put you in a spot that doesn't fit your game. If that's the case, then why spend all that money on a running back? Now, again, it's a double-edged sword because you also spend that much money on a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Patrick most happy? Where's he most comfortable? Especially coming off a knee injury.
You know what would make Patrick happy, I think?
Winning.
Well, yes, that too. But I think it might make Patrick happy to hand the ball off to a running back, and now you're halfway down the field. Instead of now it's 2nd and 7. That would make him happy from time to time. It's the frustration that we get into, Sterling, and especially around here, I think collectively in following the Chiefs and comparing it to other teams in the NFL. And we hear, Deion Dawkins or whoever for the Buffalo Bills that weighs in and says, with DJ Moore, Josh Allen doesn't have to put it all on his shoulders. It doesn't have to be all on the shoulders of Josh Allen. And it's a continual, apparently around Buffalo, James Cook does not exist.
Yeah.
Was it the first drive against Denver when James Cook picked up like 60 yards against the Broncos? And it stands out, or it may have been the wild card game. I can't remember what it was, but it stands out because I remember somebody tweeting out sarcastically and going, amazing drive by Josh Allen so far. Because it was just James Cook, running the ball down the field. That would be nice if Mahomes has a drive from time to time that they give it to Walker, 25-yard gain. They give it to Walker, 30-yard gain. Now you're already at like the 20-yard line. It's like, wow, okay. You started at your own 30, 2 plays later at the 20, and I didn't have to do anything. That's pretty nice. Heck yeah, let's go. Let's score. He doesn't have that. He hasn't had that in a long time. Maybe ever. I mean, maybe a little bit with Damian Williams. Maybe with Jerick McKinnon, when McKinnon was, again, that
heater.
2022 or 2021 late season and postseason.
Yeah.
Those 2 games in the postseason.
And that should have kept running the football and didn't.
In the second half, yes. I mean, that's the last time it's felt like he's had that. Just hand the ball off and let that guy go to work. I think that would make him happy, Sterling, if he had a couple of drives like that. Because even the last time they sort of focused on we have to hand off, I keep going back to it, that divisional round and then AFC Championship game against the Ravens. But even that AFC Championship game against the Ravens, when they went down the first drive of the game and scored a touchdown, and they were running 12 personnel, they were handing it off. 2 things still had to happen on that drive. They had to convert the 4th down with Mahomes rolling to his right and throwing to Kelsey in a contested catch. Great catch by Kelsey, but also Mahomes to his right throwing back across his body just over the outstretched hand of, I think, Kyle Hamilton and into the hands of Kelsey, who had to hold on to it for a first down, and then the back shoulder throw for the touchdown to Kelsey. Even that drive when it was they're going 12, they're handing it off, they're taking a little bit of pressure off Patrick Mahomes, he still had to make 2 perfect plays to score the touchdown there, which is why he's Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
So it is okay, now we need you to come up and be a star. We need you to be a superstar. Make this throw on 4th down, rolling to your right, throwing back across your body between 2 guys to Kelsey. And also Kelsey's a superstar. He catches it. But they also relied on running the ball. That was more field position, ball control, because they couldn't get in a shootout with the Ravens in that game. They were going to lose that game. But even then, you still had to have Mahomes make some phenomenal plays for you to score the 17 points that you had in that particular game. So it would be nice just to hand it off to Kenneth. And that's what I think everybody's excited about, is that the possibility of those things, of handing it off and him going 20 yards.
And we just haven't seen that in so long, as we're alluding to. And obviously we haven't seen it with Kenneth Walker in a Chiefs jersey yet, because the games have not been played. All we have to go off of is what was witnessed last year, which was an utter disaster, right? I mean, it was.
Yeah.
And so Andy was clearly a part of that. I mean, again, the running backs weren't good, but the play calls, I think, weren't good enough. And when you are a Hall of Famer, you're a top 5, maybe top 3 coach of all time, head coach of all time, right?
Yeah.
For sure, top 5. You're expected to be held to a little different standard. That's why when Travis Kelce had some big drops that led to
last year,
right? That's why he was criticized, maybe more so than, let's say, Kyle Pitts was. Because you know why? When Kyle Pitts has a breakout season, or Mark Andrews has a breakout season, and Travis Kelce has a down year, and all the numbers are very similar, because one guy is held to a Hall of Fame standard, the other one is not. So when you have a down year, and when the coaching doesn't seem to be the same as it was in the past, you will be held to a higher standard. Fair or not, that is how it goes. If Nick Saban missed a college football playoff, even if you go 9-3, right?
Yeah, 10-2 and you don't make the playoff is a disaster at Alabama with Nick Saban as head coach.
And so that's why last year I think it was such a rough situation. It is why Andy got criticized so much. You can appreciate all that was done before and all he has done, but also realize, hey, last year was bad. And now it's back-to-back years where the offense has really stagnated. You are known as an offensive guru. What are you going to do to change?
Well, and I think there were a lot of things last year where certain guys that are held to a higher standard, that individual plays here or there that stand out because of close losses. First game of the season, if our Mason Thomas on that 3rd and long with the Chargers fakes outside and thinks I've set up this right tackle and then cuts inside to go sack Herbert, and then Herbert runs around and picks up the first down because our Mason Thomas lost contain, you would go, that sucks. Rookie mistake.
Yes.
Hopefully as the season goes along, he won't make that, but he was trying to make a play. You learn from it. You're a rookie. When it's Chris Jones, it's a disaster, and there's no way you can do that. You've got to be smarter than that. You're one of the best defensive linemen in the game, one of the best defensive linemen of your generation, Hall of Famer. You'll have a gold jacket. You can't make that mistake. Later on in the season, wow, I mean, I'm just throwing a name in here, so this is not what I think will happen. But, man, Peter Woods quit on that play. He just assumed that Trevor Lawrence was going to get sacked, and he stopped running. And then he scores a touchdown. Rookie mistake. Never assume the play is over until you hear the whistle. When it's Chris Jones, held to a higher standard. Same thing we were talking about with Travis Kelce. Noah Gray dropped the ball. That sucks. Travis Kelce dropped the ball, and it's intercepted. Well, dude, that can't happen. Yeah. It hit your hands. It can't happen with whoever it is.
No, but yes.
But yeah, it's held to a higher standard there, and it's the point you're making about Andy Reid. When Andy Reid is viewed as the play caller that he is, you're held to a higher standard of the plays that are being called and whatever the scheme is and why it is not working for any particular reason, figuring that out. And he can be frustrated all he wants, but, the frustration is being, like, his frustration on being asked the question is not even close to the frustration of the last 2 years of fans watching them ignore just running the ball or going under center or having the scheme, ability, production, personnel to get it done. Well, that annoyance will be 1,000-fold higher than what Andy Reid's annoyance is by getting questions about going under center multiple times in this offseason and already at training camp.
How much of the frustration is with the questions versus also maybe a little at Veach of going, we had Pacheco running into guys. What did you want me to do?
Look, mixing it in is a relative term. Do you understand? We mixed it in with the guys we had running the ball.
Yeah.
That's as much as we were going to mix it in with those guys back there.
So there was clearly, there had to be some nuance there, and I'm sure,
you don't like nuance, though.
Him and Veach obviously were I would assume, hand in hand in some of the personnel decision-making of saying, hey, last year going, you know what, we are going to go with Pacheco, we think he can bounce back. It didn't work. I doubt one of them said, we believe in him bouncing back, and the other said, I have zero faith in him. Right? Like, they would have had to have some sort of agreement, I'd imagine. I mean, Andy is, again, Hall of Famer. He has a lot of sway. He wanted Veach as a G. Like, there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes. So I think part of that is the frustration of, what did you want me to do? You saw how ineffective we were running the football last year. I could call up any play we wanted. Didn't matter if he's not hitting the holes.
Yeah. If we're blocking and the scheme is right and the guy runs the wrong way, we can't just cut somebody and find somebody else off the street to learn the scheme.
Yeah.
We're kind of, we've got to dance with the people that we brought to the dance.
Yeah.
And, okay, we figured out it's a mistake at the dance. But we're not going to be able to walk over across the room to somebody that's there with somebody else at the dance and go, hey, you want to come over here? Well, no, we've been practicing all these dances. You have a total different dance routine. Not going to work.
I would still, I'd do it though.
Yeah,
I'd still dance.
This person is not able to dance. We did this whole routine, and then it's good. Like, you understand, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's your foot is in the wrong spot. You're doing the wrong thing. I just
5,
don't trust
6, 7, 8. Now go. Yeah, see,
go.
We could do this, dude. I've watched
Gary.
Dancing with the Stars.
And Gary on the kick drum, Gary. Now Gary on the kick drum, Gary.
Yeah.
Kick drum, Gary, go on the kick drum, Gary. Nothing.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah. I have watched Dance with the Stars, so I think I'm qualified to do this.
To just drop somebody at the dance and go get somebody else?
Why not? Have you seen this mustache?
Chief should have done that. That somebody else would have been Breece Hall.
Correct. But I'm also glad they did not give up the fourth rounder. Was it a third rounder?
Third round. It was. They wanted to get. They were willing to give up a fourth, but not a third.
Yeah, and I'm glad they did not.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling, and we'll talk a little bit about. I want to get into what Trey Smith said about Peter Woods, but we also have to talk about a collective losing of minds a little bit over the weekend on Saturday. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. Predictions, man. Everybody's got their predictions, and before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division, who makes the playoffs, who's lifting the trophy at season end. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Will the Chiefs make it out of the AFC? We'll find out. Can they return to the top of the league? Right now they're trading at 12%, meaning you put the money and you trade on the market of the Chiefs, making it out of the conference at 12%. $100 trade get you almost $800. But the beautiful part that I love about Kalshi is that you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. As the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, trade the game, and more on Kalshi. And for example, Chiefs trading at 12%. Okay. Halfway through the season, they're 6-2, and maybe they're trading at, 25, 36%. Well, now you've just tripled your money. That $100 investment is now $300. And then you wouldn't have to wait the rest of the season to go, boy, I wonder if they're going to do this. You can trade out of your position, take your profit. And then maybe trade some different spots. But you don't have to wait for the season to end and be able to make that. It's trading on sports like you will see some people trading on other, whether it be commodities or, and at Kalshi could be pop culture and many of other things. And right now, they've got the code and the bonus. Download the Kalshi app. The code is Jason810, Jason810, to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade 25. $500 in bonus credits when you trade 25. The Kalshi app, download it. Jason810 is the code. Kalshi, 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 trade on anything.
18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Couple of trades in Major League Baseball to update you on. The Guardians have traded for Joe Adell from the Angels, and the Mariners have acquired Taylor Ward from the Orioles. A couple of right-handed bats. Taylor Ward, more of an everyday player. Joe Adell is as well, but when people were talking about Lane Thomas, guys that can hit against lefties, teams needing right-handed bats against lefty pitchers, Lane Thomas, Taylor Ward, Joe Adell, all in the mix. We'll see what the Mariners gave up for Taylor Ward, and we'll see what the Guardians gave up for Joe Adell and how that maybe compares to the Royals in what they got for Lane Thomas. It won't be what the Orioles got for Taylor Ward because Lane Thomas has 200 fewer plate appearances this year than Taylor Ward, an everyday player, and Taylor Ward is OPSing higher than Lane Thomas as an everyday player, and they're both smoking left-handed pitchers. Lane Thomas is doing it at 40 points higher OPS. Taylor Ward, 40 points higher OPS than Lane Thomas. Again, it's a platoon player versus an everyday player.
Yeah.
The two. So I don't think that will be the same. And Joe Adell probably won't be the same because Lane Thomas, you're going for on base, and Joe Adell, you're going for power. You're going for home runs and things like that.
What has Joe Adell done this year? I think it's been pretty disappointing.
He robbed 3 home runs in the game.
No.
Like I said, the power that you give and take. Sometimes you giveth, sometimes you taketh.
We don't do outliers here. You know this about me.
Oh.
He is one of the worst fielders in baseball, so because he did that...
Well, you just asked what he did. I just told you what he did.
You did ask what he did.
He is hitting .239 OPS and .682 this year with one of the worst defenses in baseball.
But how many home runs does he hit?
16.
There you go.
No, last year he was good.
It's like 10 more than Lane Thomas.
Last year Joe
10
Adell
more
was
than
really
Taylor
good.
Ward. Yeah, he hit a lot of home runs last year, but that's probably what the Guardians are looking for. So they may not have given up as much. We'll find out. Let's talk about the collective losing of minds, and we can get back into it later on as well. I'm not sure, but so I was out working in the yard, Sterling, because that's what real men do. And
doing that today.
And the text that came in from Kadog is about the, poop with the Chiefs.
Yeah, it was not poop. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
With today, and he said with today's developments, and I'm like, oh, poop. What happened now? So I'm like, okay, what is it? I then go turn on the Twitter machine on the phone, stop the yard work. Nice time for a little break, although it's beautiful outside. And I see that Cyrus Allen, injured, not putting any weight on his left leg. The Twitter doctors, not the fake ones like me, but the ones that are viewing themselves as, this is the injury and this is what I see, all said, favoring that knee, looks like a knee to me. And I was wrong on my tweet because I tweeted out and said, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I don't try to play a Twitter doctor, but that doesn't look like a knee. One, riding the cart in the front seat is rarely a knee injury, and he was in the front seat. They want to keep that thing flat. They don't want you to bend it or whatever. Keep it flat as possible. So you ride in the back of the cart with a knee injury, not in the front. Two, when your foot is sort of, when you try to put your toes closer to your shin in the front, lift your toes up to the sky, dorsiflexion, his right foot, as he was walking, would extend and push off. Left foot only stayed in the dorsiflexion the whole time. He was not bending his foot or his ankle at all. And then when he went over to the trainer's table, they were looking at his left knee, but his left socks and shoe, his sock and shoe was off in his left foot. I've never seen somebody do a stability test or an ACL test and have to take the shoe off. So it showed me they were testing more lower. Let's go ahead and get the knee test while we're here.
Sure.
Let's check in on the knee to see if everything's stable while we have you on the table. Looks good. You can ride up on the cart in the front seat. So I was a little surprised by those hints that the Twitter doctors, the Chow and the others are like really favoring that left knee. I'm like, he's not moving his foot, his ankle at all. That's not a knee. You can press off and use your calf muscle, maybe even more, to try to not use your knee. And he's not moving. You've had ankle injuries in basketball, right? Ankle injuries.
Laundry injuries.
Yes. You don't want to move that thing. You keep it up as much as you can, and you step on it flat, and you don't push off. And you bring it, step on it flat, you don't push off. That's what he was doing. Anyway, that's the first part. Avoided the knee injury. That's good. Day-to-day shin injury. I can't believe what's going on collectively where people are like legit pissed off that a 5th-round wide receiver is playing special teams. Like, nobody was complaining about him playing special teams until he got hurt. Not one time did I see somebody go, well, now that Cyrus Allen has had 3 good practices at training camp, you better get his ass off special teams. He is somebody you can't afford to lose. He's one of the best players. You can't. How in the world are you putting Justin Jefferson as a gunner on special teams? We have seen everything we need to see from Cyrus Allen. Put him in bubble wrap, and let's get to Monday Night Football against the Broncos. I don't need to see anything else. He needs to do nothing else, even though when he talked, he specifically said how excited he is about playing special teams, about being out there. It's the thing that he wants to do. He loves playing special teams. I don't know. Maybe I can go back and look at the quotes and see everybody that followed it went, no, don't play special teams. You might get hurt. You can't play. A 5th-round rookie? How in the world? Why is that person playing special teams? Dave Toub is an idiot. Now, I would not have brought up the example of Kelsey if I was Dave Toub.
Correct.
Even Kelsey played special teams his rookie year, and then he had microfracture surgery because of the injury on special teams. Maybe not go that route.
Tyreek Hill would have been a much better example.
5th-round wide receiver.
Yeah.
Looked really good in camp early on. They might have something with this guy. I honestly, I thought it would be like a couple of people like, well, that's annoying. That sucks. But like the outrage and how mad people were that a 5th-round wide receiver, that the Chiefs had the audacity, the gall, to put him on special teams. He also said, I want to be a 4-phase guy. I want to play all the special teams. Let's go. Let's rock. Let's do it. I want to be out there. Help the team in whatever way possible.
The process was correct. The result was not ideal. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. You can have the right outlook and have the wrong result.
They ran a wide receiver screen for Jalen Royals, and Cyrus Allen went down the field to block and hurt his leg. What are they doing having Cyrus Allen block?
Yeah, I mean,
what could you possibly do with him blocking?
It's football. Injuries happen. It sucks. It's part of the game. We know this. Yeah, special teams. You don't like having your best players play on special teams necessarily. You can't say this point in the season with 3 practices in that Cyrus Allen's one of your best players. McCole Hardman was a 2nd-round draft pick, played special teams as a rookie wide receiver. If you are a wide receiver or a cornerback, you're probably playing special teams, or a defensive back. You're gonna do it.
Yeah,
like that's just part of the gig. Yeah, if you were a 1st-rounder, maybe a 2nd-rounder, maybe you don't, but you're a 5th-rounder.
Yeah,
you're gonna be on special teams. I was shocked at the outrage that people had.
The way I looked at it, I was just like, that sucks. That really sucks. I hope it's not bad. But not one time did I think, what is he doing on special teams?
Never crossed my mind.
Football player gets hurt at football practice.
Doing football things. Not a freak injury. But it does combine 2 things that resulted in the frustration from fans. So I get where it's a projection in being frustrated about the special teams because 1, people are tired of Dave Toub. And 2, people have complained about the wide receiving core, and there's such excitement about Cyrus Allen because they need somebody to be good this year outside of quick passes and slants to Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy, that's filled with potential and hasn't shown it, and maybe he'll be healthy this year. Oops, now the same shoulder he hurt that he had surgically repaired. And Tyquan Thornton is a guy that was your deep threat that's now your number 3 receiver. So you need a number 4. And Jalen Royals wasn't looking like it early on in camp. And early on, it's been 4 now 5 days of practice and 1 day with the pads. But the first few days, it was more about Cyrus Allen. So, yes, I get it. I'm excited about Cyrus Allen as well, and I am thankful that it's not something worse. But I'm not going to complain when he gets out there and fully healthy again if he's playing special teams. Because if you're a fourth or fifth receiver, you're probably playing special teams. It doesn't mean you have to, but if you're somebody that is the skill set of Cyrus Allen, you might. Juju Smith-Schuster, probably not playing special teams, but he's also 27, 28 years old. So not every single fourth or fifth receiver is created equal, but you're also talking about a fifth-round rookie. That's how you fill out your special teams. The issue is people are tired of Dave Tope, and the Chiefs wide receiving core has been an issue and a point of frustration for Chiefs fans this entire offseason, to where there's a little bit of grasping at some positivity with Cyrus Allen standing out in camp. We haven't seen him play a snap in the NFL. I'm excited about Cyrus Allen too, so I'm not dismissing that part of it. He has looked good in camp, and Mahomes has looked his way. Those are all positive things. And it sucks that he had a big play, quick slant, whatever, early on in practice in 11-on-11 on an RPO. Giveth and taketh. Positive, negative. Positive. Quick slant, boom, Mahomes gets the snap, play action, fires Cyrus Allen, catches it in stride, cuts it up, long gain on an RPO. But still, and then he got hurt. I don't remember the discourse being like this. Now, if we fast forward to next year, Sterling, and Cyrus Allen is a legit receiver, and you go into next year without Rashee Rice, and you go, Cyrus is your number one or number two because he's been that good, and then he's a gunner, now we have some issues. Now I've got a problem. But I'm not going to say this kid cannot play special teams after 3 training camp practices as a rookie, fifth-round player.
We'd be screaming, asking, why is he not playing special teams?
I mean, how can you draft somebody in the 5th round and you're not going to put that guy on special teams? What's the point then? If Jordan Tyson were playing special teams, yeah, I'd have a bigger issue, because you're drafting Jordan Tyson to be your number 1.
Yeah.
You don't draft him in the top 10 to be a 4th or 5th receiver. You're drafting him to be your number 1 receiver. And my number 1 receiver doesn't need to be playing special teams unless it's a punt return from time to time.
Yeah.
We'll put Tyreek Hill back there quickly to try to, spark something. But once Tyreek Hill became the true number 1, he stopped becoming the true number 1 punt returner. Hell, they won't even let Xavier Worthy return a punt. McCole Hardman returned punts because he was the 4th receiver on that team when they drafted him, once Tyreek Hill got cleared of all the stuff that took place after they drafted McCole. If Cyrus were your number 1 or number 2, I would have the beef of what's he doing. Yeah. Jordan Tyson should not be playing. Mekhi Lemon should not be a gunner. All right, what are we doing here? But that's not the case. He's a 5th rounder. Now that he was injured, we'll see if that continues. But if it continues, I still would have no problem with him being a gunner on special teams. I'll reiterate, though, if we get into week 3 or 4, Sterling, and it's clear Cyrus Allen is the guy, then take him off special teams.
Correct.
At that point, fully in favor of that. But not after 3 practices in training camp where he's looked pretty good in the pajama practices, like Steve Spagnuolo said. More Zone next. All right, wrap it up this hour. We'll talk with Joel Penfield, get a little baseball going. Mick Schaefer will join us in the 1 o'clock hour, get a little goofball going at that point. Learn funniest best coming up as well. But Joel Penfield, we'll get his thoughts on the Lane Thomas trade. The Royals are going to be players over the next 5 hours, heading into the trade deadline at 5 o'clock. Waka, Lugo, Piccolo's comments. Luinder Avila, forearm tightness. Discuss those things with Joel Penfield. And how realistic in his mind is it for 2027? I mean, should it be to where the Royals should be focusing on 2028? Or 2027 is not bad strategy if things come together? We'll talk to him next.
Joel Penfield on the Zone is brought to you by Reed Collision Center, serving Overland Park, Kansas City, and St. Joe. Get a free photo estimate in minutes at reedcollision.com. That's reedcollision.com.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Trade deadline, 5 hours from now. A couple of trades going down. Joe Adell is heading to the Guardians, and Taylor Ward is heading to the Mariners. I think I got that right. While the Red Sox and Orioles apparently have a deal in place for Adley Rutschman to head to the Red Sox from the Baltimore Orioles. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Joel Penfield, One Royal Way Podcast, joining us here in the Zone on a Monday. Joel, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well, just feverishly refreshing Twitter, as I'm sure everyone else that follows this sport is doing going to be doing now and for the next 5 hours or so as this trade deadline keeps rolling. Yep,
that is exactly what is happening right now, and everybody is doing that. But yes, Mariners acquire Taylor Ward, and we see the Guardians get Joe Adell, and we'll see how that compares to the Lane Thomas trade that the Royals pulled off with the Braves a couple of days ago. Taylor Ward should be more than Lane Thomas because of an everyday player and leading the league in plate appearances and having a better overall season over Lane Thomas and also smoking left-handed pitchers just as Lane Thomas is doing. We'll see about Joe Adell, who's not having the season he did a year ago, but still 10 or so more home runs than Lane Thomas. But let's talk about that specific deal. What do you think of the Lane Thomas trade? What's your breakdown of the Royals trading him and what they got?
To be able to get a AAA close to big league ready arm and kind of a lottery ticket in Holton, who looks intriguing but has missed most of 2025, so he's kind of on the mend coming back, but a left-handed pitcher with some pedigree coming out of Vanderbilt, had a couple of good years there. I think that's pretty good value for a rental platoon bat, outfield bat, which is what Lane Thomas is. He upped his value from what we thought it was going to be after the month of April. He played really well when the Royals needed him to, in the month of June and into July as they were looking to trade him eventually. And now, you get a guy in I had Braun. Yeah. I had Holton pulled up and not Braun, but that's a guy that I think probably can get some starts later this year. At the end of the year, he seems like he's close. He's kind of reminds me a little bit of Stephen Kolek in that he's not going to overpower you. It's not super flashy, but he's going to sink it. He's going to cut it. He's going to move the ball all around the zone. And they seem to like guys like that have a wide array of pitches and are able to attack the strike zone in multiple ways. So I'll be interested to see what they're able to do with him and if he's able to start as we go forward.
The move for Carter Holton, I feel like maybe I'm a little more excited about than the Lucas Braun, and we'll see because of the second round pick out of Vanderbilt, and he had some arm issues his last year, so maybe he was going to be a top 50 selection in the draft if he didn't have those injuries at Vanderbilt. But he had the Tommy John, so hopefully that is behind him. And you never know when it comes to pitchers with arm injuries. We've seen Cole Reagans continually battle arm injuries. But he's got some stuff that could be strikeout stuff, a little wonky delivery, which may help with some deception. And Lucas Braun, soft tossing right-hander, sort of feels like AAA depth and maybe a guy that could be back end of the rotation. I don't know. I was more excited about Bergert over Kolek and Falter last year. That seemed to be the one that I felt great about. And Kolek has been really good. Bergert, was good until obviously the injuries that have taken place with that. But I'm more excited about Carter Holton because I'd rather the Royals, Joel, if we're talking about strategy and trades, I'd rather the Royals say, well, what's the best prospect we can get, rather than who's the best prospect we can get that's close to the major leagues or maybe in the major leagues right now in this trade. It's putting themselves in a fine sort of, you are trying to thread a needle of getting somebody that'll be worthy of that particular trade while also meeting criteria A, B, and C of being close to the major league level, as opposed to we are going to get max value for this guy, and if that's a single A pitcher, single A hitter, that's what we're getting.
Yeah, I think that is the kind of what we're seeing, and I wondered what kind of move that they would make and how they would attack this deadline with the guys that they're going to trade or not going to trade, I guess. And I had a feeling they were going to try and attack upper minors depth, and some of that is necessitated by all of the pitching injuries that they currently have with the guys that are under control, with Kolick and Reagans and Berger. Now Avila hits the shelf. There are so many guys that are potential big league arms, or in the big leagues, or potential big league arms that they're having huge injury problems with. So getting a guy like Braun makes sense from the perspective of they need guys to pitch in AAA right now, and they may need guys to pitch in the big leagues for the rest of this year just to be as competitive as they possibly can, even if it might be a futile effort. But I think a guy like Holton is intriguing because of the pedigree, the stuff. He's also 23 and has a 5 ERA high A right now. He's coming back from Tommy John, so it is a bit of a lottery ticket, and we'll see what that looks like as he gets into Kansas City's system. What they're going to be able to develop with him. If maybe they bump him to high A now and just go, hey, let's figure this out and see what you have. And I'll be curious to what other moves they make today. What other kind of minor league depth they're able to get.
I am going to completely throw away whatever Carter Holton does this year for the Royals.
That's fair. I agree.
But it may not be. I mean, he just may be the same. Only because he had Tommy John in 2024. He missed all of last year. So this year is the first time he's facing hitters on a professional level since 2024, and even in that time he was injured and trying to battle through it. So next year, if he looks like this, all right, you took a chance. You threw something out there for a live arm, and he didn't. It didn't hit. But if a year from the Tommy John and he's getting back used to pitching and everything, which sometimes we hear a year after you come back from Tommy John is when you are at your best. We'll see what happens next year. But that's where I kind of feel like I know what Lucas Braun is going to be, and maybe the Royals get him in. And, Sweeney and the guys can maximize what they have with him. But I'd rather see some of the lottery tickets lower in the minors that have higher ceilings rather than sort of higher floor, low ceiling. But even that floor doesn't necessarily feel all that high either. It just feels like it feels Allard Baird-ish of we're going to trade, but there's one specific thing we're looking for. So it limits who we're trading to, and it limits the guys we can acquire.
Yeah, and if you go and you try and get more lottery tickets and try and find more upside in the low minors, it goes with this core of the minor leagues that we talked about last week that they're trying to build from, with Churio and Shields and Hammond and Gamble and potentially Angel Gomez and others. You add to that group, and that just adds to that wave of prospects and cost control guys. They're going to be able to, hopefully help this thing and help turn this thing around here in a couple of years.
What do you make of J.J. Piccolo's comments about the Wacha-Lugo conversation of whether they should be looking to move Wacha or Lugo or both, when he says, it's Freddie Fermin, they were dealing from a position of depth. Carter was ready to step in. And he said, when you look at Wacha, Lugo, Bobby, Michael, you name the guys that whoever you want to put in there, but there's a core of players that we believe in. Pitching is still going to determine what our successes are in the future. And if we end up moving another starter, another bullpen piece, now we have a lot of work to do this offseason. We don't mind the work, but then there's the reality of how much you can actually get done. So to go get another 4 starters, say to go get another 5 bullpen arms, that may be more than what we actually can really do. And then said that, the biggest reason why we may hold their value higher than other teams do, because they think they can compete next year and what they would other teams would give up for them. So J.J. Piccolo is really pointing to next year. We can't trade pitching because we don't have the positional strength and depth of pitching, and our value is placed higher on Wacha and Lugo because we want to compete for a division and get in the playoffs next year than what other teams would give up for them. I mean, I feel like it's going down the same path of what we saw, end of Dayton Moore, that no, next year we can compete. No, next year we can compete. Next year we can compete. Our guys are more valuable, and other teams are saying, no, they're not. That's not the value we're putting on those guys. Why are you thinking they're more valuable than what the market says?
Yeah, if this is the way they're going to go about this, if they're not going to trade Walker, if they're not going to trade Lugo, if they're not going to be aggressive and they're not going to try and just reset things a little bit or retool for next season, try and build up some farm system, maybe get some, a cost control guy or two that may be blocked or just needs an opportunity, they're not going to do it, then they better be right.
Yep.
They had better be correct that they are going to be able to turn this thing around and compete next year, because if not, it's going to be even worse, and your window to compete with Bobby Wood Jr. shrinks even more than it already is starting to. So if that's the way they're going to do this, I hope they're right. They better be right. And if they're not, there's going to be some major ramifications for the organization as we move forward.
Well, I'm glad you brought up...
It's pretty simple to me in that regard.
I'm glad you brought up the Bobby Witt thing because, I compared it to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And, going into a season, you don't want to ever punt a season and be like, all right, well, 2026 for the Chiefs, maybe they get back to the playoffs, but they should really be building for 2027. And it's like, well, you don't want to waste a year with Patrick Mahomes. And a little bit different as a quarterback as opposed to Bobby Witt. In baseball, you're one superstar. We saw that, obviously, with Mike Trout, even Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same team. But with Patrick Mahomes, you can always, in theory, compete for a Super Bowl when he's on the field on your team. Bobby Witt, on the other hand, you need other pieces around him. But the reason I make the comparison is when people say, or maybe JJ or whoever else in the Royals organization, John Sherman, Matt Quatrero, well, we don't want to waste the 2027 season with Bobby Witt. And I feel like if you look realistically in the mirror or look in the mirror and you think next year you're close to competing so you can't make these moves and you're not right, well, not only have you missed 27, but now you're in danger of wasting 28. As opposed to 27, let's regroup, let's put our pieces together, and then 28, 29, 30, that's the run we're going to make with Bobby, maximizing it rather than piece it together in 27, piece it together in 28, piece it together in 29, because, Joel, we don't want to go 1 year and waste Bobby Witt Jr. and not have a chance to make the playoffs. Okay, so then maybe you don't have a chance to win a World Series.
It really just feels like they're duplicating the mistakes the Angels made with Mike Trout and Ohtani. And I know you brought that up, a little bit ago, but I completely agree. And you're seeing it's becoming more and more analogous as this season has gone on and as we look possibly ahead. And that's not a position you want to be in. You don't want to waste the prime of one of the best players in the league, one of the best players we've seen in baseball for quite a long time. And that's what the Angels did by kind of trying to have a hand in both buckets of, yeah, we're not really that competitive. Yeah, we have pieces we can trade, but we really need to hang on to these guys because we think they can be competitive. And then those guys' value diminishes, and then you can't trade them, and then you end up being worse than you even thought before. And that's the position the Royals are certainly finding themselves in now. They have an opportunity, and if the reports are correct that they've received ample interest for Waka and for Lugo, one, you should be thanking whoever's on the phone to take Seth Lugo's contract right now. And with Michael Waka, they might overpay because of the market that's, bared out right now with the way that it has gone so far for starting pitchers, especially durable starting pitchers that have control like Michael Waka would provide. And if you're not going to do that, again, you better be right. And I know that it is the starting pitching market for free agents is not cheap. You may need to dip into it a little bit more. But if you want to win, and I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, Sam Presti once said, scared money don't make none. And if you're not going to be aggressive, if you're not going to open up the pocketbook, if you're not going to do this, then you're not going to win championships. You're not even going to be able to compete for them. So it ends up being a really rough spot for Kansas City. If they decide to hold on to this and next year they're wrong and they win 78 games and miss the playoffs, that might be an aggressive estimate.
Yeah.
They do that, it gets even worse as we look forward over the next couple of years.
Well, again, I'll make another Chiefs comparison in what Brett Veach did a couple of times. And, he traded Tyreek Hill, he traded Trent McDuffie. And the strategy was, yes, they are better with Tyreek Hill. Yes, they are better with Trent McDuffie. Right now, the Chiefs would be better with Trent McDuffie on the team. But that is specifically right now. Are they better overall team this year, next year, with the draft picks and also the money that they would be paying Trent McDuffie, top of the line money as a cornerback that the Rams are paying Trent McDuffie? Tyreek Hill, are you better with the draft picks and the money you can save that you can put in different areas to make the team better? What I think J.J. Piccolo is dismissing when he says Waka and Lugo and those guys pitching next year, and hey, we'd have to go out and do all this work in the offseason to replace those pitchers. Well, you would be trading Waka and Lugo, but what you would get back is the prospects or who you get in a trade and the $34 million you would be paying Waka and Lugo. You don't just trade Waka and Lugo and get the prospects, and now it's like, well, we got all this work to do, and we don't have $34 million more dollars we're paying for Waka and Lugo. It's like, no, you've got the 34 to go out and make a run, and maybe, Joel, you take that $34 million and you go, we're going to make a run at somebody who's close to a number one over the next couple of years because we think we can compete, and we're going to take Lugo and Waka, and we're going to turn those guys into some close to major league ready guys, and the $34 million, we're going to turn that into maybe a true number two that you hope maybe Reagan's is back or whatever, and really make a run for it, as opposed to a couple of guys that'll go out there and hopefully they'll continue as 36 and 37-year-olds doing what they're doing. It's dismissing the money that you get back by not paying those guys next year that you can go out and spend and maybe go all in, Joel, on a starter that has potential of being a 1 or 2 for 3 years.
Yeah, or you take that money and you allocate that into building a bullpen.
Yes,
because yes, you can rebuild bullpens on the cheap relative to other pitchers, but if you build it on the cheap, are you really going to get the sort of guys, the difference makers in a bullpen that you need to be able to compete? And that's where trading for guys comes into play. And this is where I think you get into the conversation about prospects and all that stuff. And having prospects is great, and having guys that can help your team in the future is great. But it's also the reason why you build a farm system, and this is what the Dodgers have done, this is what other organizations have done, is yes, you have guys in your system that can help you, in the future as part of your team. Those guys can also help your big league club in the immediate by providing value in a trade. And hoarding prospects does not always work. It helps. It's nice, and it's nice in theory, but how often do prospects, quote-unquote, pan out? That's why we call them prospects, not big league players yet. And that would be the route they would have to go as well. They'd really have to consider, okay, how much do we love Kendrick Churio enough to believe he's going to be in the big leagues in a couple of years? David Shields, Angel Gomez, whoever the case, if you really want to go and get a difference-making starting pitcher, you're probably going to have to make a trade, and then you're going to have to part with prospects that you probably don't want to have to part with. It is the long tail of making the decision to not trade Waka and Lugo then sends you down that path as well. There are a lot more ramifications to trying to rebuild this roster for 2027 if baseball is played, goes far beyond just keeping Waka and Lugo. If you do that, there's other avenues they're going to have to build this roster with, and I don't think people will like it, or it will be a really tough pill to swallow for a lot of fans.
Well, yeah, I mean, you take the $34 million and, okay, you don't have Waka and you don't have Lugo, but if I'm looking at what would be projected market value, and this is very simplistic way of doing this, so I acknowledge it on the front end, very simplistic way of doing this, but you look at it and go, all right, so we've got $34 million. If I pay $20 million for Pivetta, who's a free agent, and we'll see what the injury looks like the rest of the season. They were talking about Tommy John a few months ago, but he's trying to work out through it. He's throwing off the mound, all of that stuff. But if he returns and is healthy and goes into next season and he's a free agent, okay, so $20 million for him and $15 for Arozarena. So are you better with Waka and Lugo at $34 million, or are you better with those guys on your team at $34 million and whatever you get back for Waka and Lugo? That's what I think is being missed by JJ in his, well, somebody's got to pitch next year.
Yeah, and
that's very simplistic, by the way.
But I think that is sometimes it's like Occam's razor. The simplest solution is the most obvious, and I think that kind of qualifies here. But when you look around the free agent market as well, like other guys that are available next year, like Robbie Ray, he's 34. I think the problem with the starting pitching market next year is a lot of guys that are A, available, and B, in the Royals' quote-unquote price range are all 30-something plus, and you're kind of you're finding a bunch of mid-rotation guys, and that's awesome, but who's your one? And if Michael Wacha is your one, it's like a mid-tier one. Like, he's good, but he's an innings-eating, middle-of-the-rotation at his best, and he's about to be 35 or 36. Like, how much longer is he going to be able to keep this up? We know the volatility with arm injuries now. Like, it's unfortunate that you're, sometimes just one pitch away from having to go on the shelf. And it's a really risky proposition to have that and then not really have the money to be able to play in free agency or have the fortitude to be able to spend more in free agency if you want to go that route to really try and open this thing up like they did in 2024. They really opened it up compared to what we have seen in Kansas City for, decades. And then they were able to have a 30-game turnaround and win. And that may be correlation causation, but spending money helps you win games. It doesn't correlate to championships all the time, but it certainly helps you get good players, which good players help you win games.
Yep. Visiting with Joel Penfield, One Royal Way podcast. Do they move anybody else today? Anybody else get traded by the Royals?
Schreiber, I think, should be on the move. He's a rental. It seems like they're going to trade their rental guys outside of Strahm, just because I don't think even a team would give a bag of balls for him right now. I don't even know if you can get money in the vending machine for Matt Strahm right now. But I imagine like a Starling Marte, a John Schreiber. I'm maybe missing another rental or two, but those types of guys I think are going to be out the door. I don't expect any other movement.
Yeah. If Strahm is not traded today, is he on the team Wednesday?
I'd say it's a coin flip.
Okay. If he's not traded today, I'd like to see him DFA'd tomorrow.
I think they have to. They put him in a super low leverage situation to know that they're playing on the moon in Colorado and he still give up a home run. Like it's untenable, and they need to just find out what they have in some of these other arms and give them opportunities to see, okay, how much do we really need to invest in the bullpen next year? Like, who are guys that we feel like, okay, this guy can give us innings in the bullpen in 2027, and how many spots do we need to fill? Because Matt Strahm is not going to be a part of it, and at this point in the year, you're better off just running tryouts in the bullpen to figure out who can be a part of this future as we go forward.
I want to end on a positive. I don't care about the conversation of the decision of Quatrero in the ninth inning with Noah Cameron. What I care about is, and Sterling and I, we talked about that, and Jack, and got into that. But I want to put that aside because I just want to talk to you, Joel, and get your thoughts on Noah Cameron back-to-back games calling his own game and what he's looked like. And do we think that's the difference as to what he's doing is him being in charge of how he feels and what he's throwing in calling his own game now, back-to-back games, 15 innings, no earned runs.
Yeah, no earned runs and 15 strikeouts in there as well. So he's not over-relying on the fastball and getting misses. He's mixing it up a lot more. We're seeing less four seam, more cutter, more changeup. Seems to he's found a mix, and he even changed up the mix a little bit from start to start. I think it was cutter primary against Detroit. It was more changeup and then cutter against Minnesota. So he has a really good feel for his stuff and the way he wants to mix it up. If it continues, I mean, it's a really intriguing thing for a guy that's still got some dirt under his spikes in the big leagues. Obviously, with this being essentially his second full season, but to have the confidence to call his own game. Wacha and Lugo have been in the big leagues for a long time, so obviously they're going to feel comfortable calling their own game. But for Cameron to do it, I think that is really impressive. Just the baseball mind and the pitcher's mind to be able to do that. And I want to see how this works over a larger sample. But early returns obviously has made a difference for him.
Yeah, that could be really exciting. I'm not asking him to go out there and throw 7 innings at minimum and no earned runs. That'd be asking a lot. I'm not saying he has to be the best pitcher in baseball, okay? But it's exciting to see what it could be the rest of the way if he's tapped back into something that was missing early in the season and at different points this year, because it would be nice for him to be reliable on the mound when he's there, because outside of the back spasm and then last year they wanted to limit his pitch count, every 5 days he's on the mound. Like, and so he's reliable from that standpoint. Like, he's been a horse, and he's built like that, so he's built like a guy, and he's not throwing, 99 or 100. And so if he can figure this part out in the pitching part of it and getting, the stuff that he worked on in the offseason to then match the control, then and now in charge of his own game, then I think it could be pretty exciting for what they may have in Noah Cameron. And then, as we would expect, Waka and Lugo as well in the rotation next year.
ERA is a little over 4.5, but obviously that's come down quite a bit over the last couple of starts. And the FIP is 3.88. So the field independent pitching, what he can control, strikeouts, walks, and homers, is almost a run lower than what his ERA is, which means it's probably going to come down a little bit. There's some, coming back to the mean a little bit, which is a good sign. And if he's able to get his ERA by the end of the year below 4, and he's in like the 3.8 range, if he keeps this up, then I think you feel really good about what Noah Cameron can be as we go forward. He's not the 2.99 ERA guy that he was last year. I think that was a bit of a flash in the pan, kind of beginning of his career. Not a lot out on him, but if he's a high 3s, low 4s, 4-5 starter for you as you go forward, he's going to have a long career doing that, and that is really valuable if he's asked to be the 4 or 5 starter, not a 2 or a 3 like he's been leaned on to be this year. Now, maybe he pitches like a 2 or 3 for the rest of this year, calling his own game, and maybe we can reassess. But right now, I do think that this is going to be one of the main stories to watch as we go forward and now that he's calling his own game, how does he continue to progress as a pitcher, and can he elevate from maybe what we think he is right now as a true nothing more than a 4 or a 5?
Yeah, and a little different than what we've seen from Dobnik, and nothing against him. There's just a little more smoke and mirrors there, where the last 2 starts for Noah Cameron, the expected batting average is under 200 in those 2 games, where Dobnik, it's been right around 400. But hey, ride it while you can, Dobnik, and maybe you get away with some luck, and then the next go around you don't need the luck. Who knows? But Cameron hasn't needed luck. He's just been controlling the game and dominating the opposing offense. So we'll see if that continues. Joel, you're the man. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the day. I know you guys will be doing your work right and leading up to the trade deadline. So looking forward to that, and let's hope there's more activity around the Royals today, and it's not all quiet on the Royals front. We'll see. Joel, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate it. Real quick, if I may plug, I will be live at 4:30 Central on the KCSN Live YouTube channel for the final 30 minutes of the deadline and break down everything the Royals did or didn't do as we go forward.
That's right. Hopefully it's the first part, the former, not the latter. Appreciate you, Joel. You're the man.
Thank you, Jason.
Absolutely. There's Joel Penfield, One Royal Way Podcast, KCSN, and we'll see what they do. There is 4.5 hours left and counting until the trade deadline, and we'll see what the Royals do or don't do. And certainly it seems like if they do, it will be more Schreiber, Marte, maybe Lynch, because he's got team control, and it looks like they're only going to be trading those rent players. What they do or don't do, and if they don't do, it feels like do for the Royals. We shall find out. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. And the Cyrus Allen conversation we got into in the previous hour, okay, that's one part of people losing, I guess their collective minds. I want to get into the Skubal, Dodgers, Major League Baseball, and what has resulted in, I didn't realize it would be a pitched battle of the economics of baseball, or the ignoring of economics of baseball, or the downfall of baseball as we know it, was the Dodgers trading for Tarik Skubal. We'll get into that next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to talk about the Tariq Skubal trade to the Dodgers and what the Tigers got in return, and this conversation around, Major League Baseball and what's going on and the complaints and everything. And I think, boy, to me, it tells me a lot about those that do and don't understand the economics in baseball and how it works differently than the NFL. The amount of people that cover sports for a living or played sports for a living that have just looked at this and said, this is all about cheap owners. This has nothing to do with the economics of baseball. This is because other owners are cheap. And the people that look at it and go, well, this dude that's an owner look at his net worth. He's worth like $4 billion. He can't spend a little money. Like, do you understand the difference between net worth and liquid? The net worth is tied up in the ownership of the team.
Correct.
So it's not like, he has $4 billion in the bank or $5 billion in the bank. That's one part of it. The view of like, well, you can afford it. Every one of these teams can afford to make the move for Tariq Skubal. And I agree with that. I think every single team could afford to trade for Tariq Skubal. Just as every single team in the NFL, there is not one player that you can't go out and sign to bring into your team with the salary cap. You can find a way to bring in one player no matter how much you pay him. You can move some things around. Probably can't do that with 2 or 3, but you can everybody can afford to find one player that it's like, this guy, you got to overpay, let's move some things around, we can do that. But you can't do that with like 3 or 4 because then you get into dire straits. And
you're getting money for nothing.
And, something else for free. I don't know what you're getting. There's a lot of things that you can or can't get for free. Who knows? But this commentary about it's cheap owners and everybody can afford it. Let me give you an example. Every single team could trade for Tariq Skubal. Every single team could afford to trade for Tariq Skubal. Sterling, in theory, can afford to go out and pay for a $500,000 Rolls Royce. Now, I would have to sell every asset we have, everything we have, retirement, investments, our house, the equity, everything we have, and then put a down payment on said Rolls Royce of, I don't know, $300K. Awesome. Give or take. So I can defer the final $200,000 worth of payments for a couple of months. So I have invested everything into this. So a couple months, it's awesome. This is great. But then in a couple months, I have to then start paying for that. Now, I can afford it, but how smart would that be for me to go and do that? It would be absurd. Whereas somebody who's worth $50 million can go and buy that, and you go, yeah, but you're just cheap. The reason you didn't buy that Rolls Royce is because you're cheap. It's not that you are trying to balance your overall financials and how you can stay competitive or long-term, how I can eat next year and how I can, have somewhere to live 6 months from now and not live in the car. I can afford it. But it's incredibly stupid if I were to do that, whereas somebody who's got $50 million, they can afford it, and that's fine. Just go and pay for it. And that's the example I would give to people that continue to say, well, it's just cheap owners. The Royals in 24 brought in roughly $30 million in their TV network deal. Then 33% of that goes into revenue sharing. So the Royals brought in roughly $20 million in their TV network deal. The Dodgers bring in $320 a year. And they're taxed at 10%. Not 33%, 10% because of the deal they made with Major League Baseball when they were going bankrupt. And Major League Baseball said, for the life of this TV deal, we won't tax you at the 33%. We'll tax you at the 10%.
So that's about $290, $298.
they're saving, and this has been out there, how they're saving $60, $70 million in taxes every year that they take in that would go into revenue sharing, that doesn't go into revenue sharing. And people have said, yeah, but you know what? They give that back in the luxury tax by signing players. They give that back in luxury tax by going and signing players with the extra money that they have. It's just the unwillingness to acknowledge the economics of every year. $320 goes to the Dodgers before taxes. And every year, $30, and I think it's less now that Major League Baseball is running it for the Royals. It was $30 when they had the contract with Bally and Diamond, whatever, in 2024. I think
288, sorry, math.
Yeah, whatever the math is. I don't care. We get the point for all of these things. If we say 330, even if we drop it down for the Dodgers and go to the most recent reported for the Royals at 30, 270 every single year goes to the Dodgers, then goes to the Royals. And that's not all revenue sharing. And for somebody to actually look at it and go, these owners are cheap, especially I love Mitchell Schwartz. I follow him for a reason, but his take was about the cheap owners in Major League Baseball. And my reaction is, if you flip the owners in town, if Clark Hunt owned the Royals and John Sherman owned the Chiefs, Clark Hunt would be viewed as a cheap owner in Major League Baseball.
Correct.
He'd be a cheap owner. Is Clark Hunt viewed as a cheap owner in the NFL?
Yes.
Darcy.
I'll say it. Sure.
Semi.
Yeah, because the cash that the Royals, the Chiefs spend, now Mahomes has changed that with how much cash they have to spend now with Mahomes. So they're typically ranked in the top half of the NFL the last couple of years in cash spending.
It's changed a
little. But the first part of Mahomes through like 24, they were in the bottom third of cash spending every year. They would be viewed as cheap. Mahomes, kind of hard to do that when you're paying Mahomes, paying Chris Jones, now paying Mansour Delane. His cash is like $21 million this year.
Yeah, it's not the same as it once was.
For Mansour Delane. So you got $60 million for Mahomes, 21 for Mansour Delane. Like, you're talking about $80 million in cash right there this year for them to be in the top 10 of cash. It changes a little bit.
I also look at the void years though too. I think that's
right,
something.
and void
the
years,
lack of void years.
Absolutely. But that's sort of my point, Sterling, in the economics are being ignored. And I don't know if this is going to be the final straw for the lockout or the new CBA or whatever. But it would be different if there was full revenue sharing and there was a cap and a floor. It's not a cap without a floor.
Correct.
It's a cap with a floor, so it makes it more of a competitive, balanced league where you don't have $270 million going to a team every year from a TV network deal that doesn't go to the others. And you've got people that look at the Royals and go, they're cheap, unlike the Dodgers. Let me give you a quick example of how it's different when they trade their prospects. And this is a real-life example because this is what took place. They traded River Ryan and Zaire Hope. I had no clue about this. I had to look it up, so I'm asking this question, and I don't expect anybody to know unless you're a diehard Dodgers fan. Anybody have an idea of how they acquired Zaire Hope? I thought maybe they drafted him, right? He's a 21-year-old prospect, number 25 prospect in all of baseball. It's like the Dodgers are pretty smart. And by the way, this isn't all about money because I do think the front office is pretty smart.
Oh, agreed. Yes.
I think the Dodgers are.
They're taking advantage of the loopholes.
Right, but there's a reason why they have all these prospects in the top 100.
One, they get ranked high because they've been good before. And so a guy who's 27 years old off of multiple Tommy John surgeries and River Ryan, who's pitched, 4 innings or 4 games in the majors, is somehow ranked in like the top
number
100.
68.
He's 27. Am I a prospect? If I was in the Dodgers system, would I be a top 100 prospect?
You would. The mustache would be top 100 prospect.
Erroneous.
Alone. But how did they acquire Zaire Hope? Before I looked it up last night, I would have just said a draft pick or something like that. Okay, they're really good at identifying. Here's how they acquired Zaire Hope. 2 years ago, Zaire Hope, a 19-year-old, the Dodgers traded Michael Busch to the Cubs. Michael Busch was Major League ready, knocking on the door to be a Major League player, an everyday player, but he was blocked. The Cubs needed a bat, needed a first baseman. They gave up a 19-year-old Zaire Hope for a guy who's ready to play right now with 6 years of team control and Michael Busch. And he's their everyday first baseman still.
It's been good.
For the Cubs. Everyday first baseman. But they gave up Zaire Hope, who's now a top 25 prospect in all of baseball. The Dodgers didn't need Michael Busch. So we move him, and we reset that assets clock. We've moved that now into a 19-year-old prospect that in a couple of years we may be able to move. Do you know why Michael Busch was blocked by the Dodgers?
They signed Freddie Freeman, I'm assuming.
Freeman and Ohtani.
Yeah.
First base and DH. Michael Busch couldn't make it to the Dodgers because they had Freeman and Ohtani. $162 million for Freeman, $700 million deferred for Shohei Ohtani. That's why he was blocked. He wouldn't have been blocked by the Brewers. He wouldn't have been blocked by the Rays. He wouldn't have been blocked by the Royals. The Royals didn't trade Cags because he was blocked because they had $860 million invested in a first baseman and a DH. He's playing right field because they can't have him blocked. He can't be blocked. He has to play. They would have moved Michael Busch to the outfield to make sure his bat was in there every day. That's the point. They're trading prospects too. They got the prospect because they had Freeman and Shohei when they traded the guy that would have played that position, that even the Cubs gave up prospects to go and acquire Michael Busch. That's the difference. If they miss on, if Zaire Hope turns out to be amazing and River Ryan turns out to be amazing, that's fine. They're going to sign Scooball.
Yeah.
Other teams that were trading for Scooball, it was a real rental. It's like my Rolls Royce. I'm putting the down payment, but if I want to keep it, I then have to keep paying monthly for it. They're putting the down payment, which are the prospects. Yeah. But if you want to keep getting the down payment's value, you then have to pay Tariq Scooball. So not only are you giving up the prospects, you're also paying all that money. But you do get Scooball. You do get the badass Rolls Royce. You do get to go around and say, see, look at this. I may win the World Series. You may. And if that's the difference, it would be worth it. It would absolutely be worth it. But when we're talking about the economics, the Brewers can't afford, in other words, 2024, the Brewers were going for it. Jack Flaherty was one of the top pitchers on the market. He went from Detroit to the Dodgers. The Brewers were interested. How dumb are the Brewers if they could acquire Jack Flaherty for a guy who was like the fourth prospect in their system and before 2024 was not a top 100 prospect, a guy by the name of Mizorowski? Like, what if they traded, or even last year, before the season, go and make a move for a stud pitcher, trade the guy that came in, MLB.com pre-2025 ranked him as the number 100 prospect in all of baseball. Trade him. Okay, cool. The guy that's like, whatever, we'll see what he ends up being. That's fine. Maybe you hit on him, but you got Flaherty for the rest of the year. You might win a World Series. The Brewers are not in this position. They can't afford to move those guys. The Dodgers can because they'll go pay for the next one and the next one and the next one. It's ignoring the economics just to complain and say that people are cheap and the billionaires are cheap. Some might be, but the economics do play a role in this, and it can't be ignored just because you want to, clown a team that, doesn't have a high payroll.
The best thing to come out of this is it feels like almost every team, most fans, most people understand this is unsustainable for baseball. It was almost good Tariq Scooball goes to the Dodgers because now it just shows the actual landscape that cannot continue on down this path. You can't have the Dodgers. And now again, you're right. They do it correctly. They get it right.
They're smart.
The Mets tried. What did the Mets do? They're
exactly.
horrible.
The Mets spend money and they're dumb. The Dodgers have a stud farm system. They're smart at acquiring players,
yes,
developing them, drafting them, paying them. Like they know what they're doing.
They do a good job.
It's a combination of having the money and being really smart front office.
Correct. But at some point, there has to be some sort of guidelines that can semi-prevent this because it is going so far from the haves and the haves not when it comes to these teams. I mean, if you are in the AL Central right now, good luck. I mean, the Royals spend a good amount of money for their market size. They do.
Mm-hmm.
They're right in the middle of it, and that's why I don't blame Sherman necessarily. I don't. But you have them, the White Sox. You have Cleveland. You have the Twins. They're not out here spending Detroit. Obviously, we just saw them trade Scooball because they can't keep him. I mean, just the amount of money.
Yeah, and Detroit being a small market team when it's Detroit.
Yeah, but still,
it's a TV network deal.
It's a TV network
what
deal.
You get on the TV network.
It's why football is so great when it comes to parity.
Yeah.
And how any given year you can compete. Yeah, you can make the playoffs here and there if you are a smaller market team. We've seen it. But to win one is incredibly difficult. The Royals have been the outlier. They have been. I almost find Scooball going to the Dodgers to be, as much as I hate it for this year, a good thing, because now I think we'll finally see some sort of change, because I think the other owners and teams are going to sit back and go, yeah, this is 29-1. We're not doing this anymore. Maybe 28 if you count the Mets.
The people look at the parity and how many different teams are winning and say, well, Major League Baseball has more parity than the NFL, because look at the different teams that are winning. And yes, Patrick Mahomes hurts that, because they go to the Super Bowl a lot. I mean, they went to 3 out of 4 and, 4 out of 5, I should say, in 20, 22, 23, 24. 5 out of 6. Like, they've been awesome. And it's like, well, yeah, but you've got the Chiefs winning all of these. You've got Philly and Tampa and Seattle. But in Major League Baseball, yes, the Dodgers have won back-to-back, but then you had the Rangers and Houston and Atlanta and Washington and Boston and Chicago and the Royals and San Francisco. Like, you got all these different teams that are winning. But the difference is the market size. Going back to 2014, 12 years of championships, 6 of those 12 championships in the NFL have been from market size top 10. 11 of the 12 winners in Major League Baseball have been from a top 10 market. 11 of the 12 winners have been a top 10 market. Anybody want to raise their hand and tell me who the non-top 10 market was in the last 12 years to win a World Series? The number 31 market, the Kansas City Royals. Other than that, you had market 6, market 3, market 10, 7, 9, 2, 8, 10, 5, 2, 2. Super Bowls: 7, 18, 7, 4, 7, 31, 13, 2, 31, 31, 4, 14. Which one has more parity? The one that a 34, 31, 24, 18, 14, 13 market size. 6, 31, 3, 10, 7, 9, 2, 8, 10, 5, 2, 2. Yeah, different winners from different top 10 markets is what's happening in one sport. A cluster of different winners in one sport that include 6 non-top 10 markets.
Yeah.
So there you go. Padres finalizing a trade to acquire Robbie Ray from the Giants. So there's the latest in the trade market. We'll take a time out. More Zone next. All right, wrap it up this hour. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up. On the other side of the break, we got some Learn Funniest Best coming up in the 1 o'clock hour as well. Chiefs talking today. Andy Reid, Trey Smith, George Karlaftis, Shamari Connor. Talk a little bit about what we heard. Lane Thomas moving to the Braves. And that's it so far for the Royals. 4 hours to go in the trade deadline. We'll see who else might be on the move. Liam Hicks, Miami Marlins trading catcher Liam Hicks to the Tampa Bay Rays. So he's going to Miami to Tampa. It's a long trip for him. So there you go. 4 more hours left.
Come on. Come on, Royals. Don't let me down.
Well, sorry
they already
about
have.
That. Sorry about that.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Monday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Hanging out with Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 sports director. You direct all the sports there, huh? You're just there like a composer.
I've been really slipping these days. I've been bad at directing. The Royals, yeah. I just can't find the right tune with them when I'm up there conducting and directing.
Be better.
Is it like a movie
got
director?
A couple injuries.
Are you a movie director where you have like the action?
Yeah.
Or are you like a symphony director where you have the wand?
That would be a conductor, I guess.
Yeah. Or trains.
Sure.
Ooh, yeah.
Or like a conductor's in like electricity. There's a lot of conductors, quite frankly.
But I'm a sports director. I'm not sports conductor.
Yep.
So I would have to say I'm more like the film side.
Yeah, I don't know how I got so off base with director and conductor, but it did make me think English is hard because there's a lot of words for conductor that are kind of
you're
different.
the leader, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the one in charge.
But also electricity. It's like, hey, what if we throw that in there for good measure too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Benjamin Franklin over here, right?
The HR director that you need to see probably on a regular basis.
Me?
Like just flying a kite.
What does that stand for?
See if
I have a funny.
See if there's some electricity here.
I'm going to save this. My funny. That Benjamin Franklin comment reminded me.
What's the funniest?
Yeah.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so good to see you guys.
Is it that Benjamin Franklin flew the kite but had his son do it?
No.
And not him?
I didn't know that. Did that happen?
Yes. Benjamin Franklin wasn't the one.
Adult's going to be caught flying a kite.
Benjamin Franklin wasn't the one holding the kite. It was his son.
Kites suck, by the way.
Benjamin Franklin's
the most overrated thing in the world.
No. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Dad, why aren't you doing it? The wind and like holding it. It's like really. And I also want to record what I see, and it's going to be tough to write these things down.
Get that key up there. Get it up there.
Yeah, I mean, just like just
hold that string
a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. Perfect. Yes. Okay. Great. We have electricity.
Well, he knew he was going to be president someday. He was Sterling's favorite president.
He's one of the best.
Yeah,
top
one of the best.
3.
Easily one of the best presidents we've ever seen. Yes. I mean, the guy was as smart as it gets.
Yes.
I mean, how many different guys?
Sloan Kettering,
and Johnny Hopkins.
And Johnny Hopkins, I think, are probably my 3 favorite. If I had to guess.
How many people have their signatures on Declaration of Independence, the treaty that got France into the war, the peace agreement with England, and then the Constitution? How many people have their signature there?
Is it just one?
Just one.
On
all of
Ben
us.
Franklin?
For all of us.
That's a big whiff for us not to hire him as president. Just by appointing him.
Pretty good.
Right?
Pretty good. Although he was pretty old at that time, and I think he liked.
Look at you knowing all the documents he signed, just rattling them off.
Oh.
The Magna Carta, probably.
Yes.
I don't think he did that.
Yes, he did that.
He did the Magna Carta, probably.
And the Bible.
Yes, he signed off on that. He signed off on the deal to print it. You know, they're like, hey, we've got a number of people that have got this idea for a Bible. So they pitched it. We've given them an advance.
Yeah.
He signed off on the contract in the advance for it to be written.
Ben Franklin was our greatest president. Jesus was our greatest citizen, American citizen.
Yes.
Jesus was.
How much he did for people?
Yeah.
I mean, he brought things back to life like himself. I mean, he was able to do all those things, you know? I mean, water to wine. Who needs water when you can have wine? You know, come on, let's figure this. Let's be smart about this whole thing, you know. Anyway, I'm not sure how we got there, but we did, and now we're back here in the sports show with Mick Schaefer,
We're just
who is
delaying
a sports
talking about some
director.
topic, which is
probably that. If you're directing sports, why did you direct Cyrus Allen to be on? Why did you direct a 5th round wide receiver to have the audacity and gall to play special teams?
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Gosh,
can't believe
that's
that
crazy.
Took place.
I thought it was odd that they had Mahomes holding, snapping for James Winchester. Mahomes doing that seemed dumb, but you know.
I don't know. I missed all that this weekend, thank God. And I heard it later that everybody's mad that he's playing special teams, and just people don't know stuff, I guess.
I don't know. I think it's Dave Tobe that people are tired of, and the wide receiver group is so bad that It's like, oh my God, this 5th rounder that looks pretty good in practice and the 3 days of camp is so good that he should not play special teams as a 5th rounder.
There's only 46 guys that suit up every Sunday. A lot of them are going to have to play special teams, especially 5th round wide receivers.
Good portion of guys that need to play on special teams.
But he had a great week in his pajamas, and the Chiefs should have seen the future, which he's going to be the next Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, who also played special teams.
Which is what I brought up as well when Dave Tobe said, well, Travis Kelce played special teams year 1.
Not the best example.
Bad example because he
did
hurt. Game 1, snap 1, like
microfracture.
So, but like he
don't use that one.
He probably should have used the other 5th round wide receiver that was in Kansas City that played special teams, like Tyreek Hill would have been maybe a better, more palatable.
Now, I would agree if we're in week
Mansour Lane was out there playing special teams, by the way.
If we're in week 3 of the NFL season,
I don't like that one though.
There's almost everybody plays special teams.
No.
Yes.
No, not 1st round corners.
Boy, I'd hate to see Trey Smith or Creed or somebody get injured blocking for a field goal.
There's
different.
How many different units of special teams are there?
4 faces.
A lot.
Why don't you just use all your backup offensive linemen for the field goal?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't use a straw man, okay? I'm looking at a man made of straw right now, which, by the way, people going crazy for that, the Wicker movie or something like that.
Oh, that was on one of mine. Like, I can't believe that's a real thing.
I cannot believe it's a real thing.
And it's like a big-time actor doing it.
Yeah.
Alexander
Scorsese.
Laird. And,
I almost have a straw man right here. I got my hands and my foot.
But I don't need to see the 1st rounder cornerback playing special teams. I don't need to see that.
Well, where does it stop then or start? Is it a 2nd rounder, 3rd rounder?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the answer is probably yes.
But I do agree. Like,
what about Peter Woods? Can he be on field goal block?
Sure.
That's special teams.
A little different.
How's it different? It's special teams.
It's a little different.
How's it different?
Big boys, I think less, not less of, but I think less of a chance of injury.
Tell that to their face.
Maybe I haven't done the studies. But I feel like
you're fine with Mansour Lane running backwards for 12 plays on a long drive, but not for 1 on a punt that's going out of bounds.
Probably.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like
Makes all the sense in the world.
The Josh Williams guys make sense on special teams.
Buddy, I hate to tell you, they got a bunch of Josh Williams playing DB this year. A lot of Josh Williams.
But not Delane.
Maybe, we sure?
Like, I think
because he's been in the yellow jersey the entire time.
I feel like Jadon Kennedy would be #1 defensive back for special teams. CRW would be in that same category as well. Whether a Kevin Knowles or a Wampa or a Melvin Smith Jr.
Well, we know Kyrie was out there because he collided with Cyrus, so we know he's out
won't
there.
Start right away. Maybe he'll be a backup to start off.
Well, that'd be bad.
You're doing special teams.
That'd be bad news. Bad news Bears.
Well, I mean, guys aren't great off the jump.
You better be to get a corner.
Learning curve.
Breaking news, we can no longer say the Royals will not be moving somebody else. The Royals have made a trade. With,
can I guess?
Yeah.
With the team? No, I'll just guess the guy.
Schreiber.
Marte.
0-0. Anybody want to
Is it a good one? Lugo.
Not Lugo.
Waka.
Not Waka.
Shoot.
But you're on the same path. You're on that right path.
I almost cussed.
Kolick?
Nope.
Lynch?
Nope. Starters. He was on the starter path.
Noah Cameron.
Nope.
Avila.
Nope.
Who is it? Kyle Wright.
Nope. Chris Bubich has been traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
As an injured player. Wow.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are acquiring left-hander Chris Bubich.
Is he close?
And another
in
example
a trade.
How they can just take a chance on a guy that's injured.
We'll see what they trade for him. I feel like he's worth maybe their #1 prospect. Chris Bubich has been moved.
I'm confused because
we
didn't
don't
he
know
have
for
a?
who.
It hasn't. The compensation hasn't been released yet.
Didn't he already have another injury?
Well, they shut him down. They brought him back. He's doing some more work and everything. The Dodgers will figure it out. They'll just Mr. Miyagi that shoulder, touch it, and then he can go out there and win the All Valley. Because he's in LA now.
Do we figure out any return yet for?
No.
Just
it's what Mick just asked for. Just asked, and we said no. But that's fine. You were looking stuff up.
Yeah, I was trying to actually look up his timeline.
Yes, you were actually doing that. So I do.
I
grace on that one.
Where was he at in club control and all that?
He's a free agent at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it made sense. Yeah. But with the injury, that we thought there was really no chance because what team wants to trade for?
Team with all the money, apparently.
Well, because you'd have to re-sign him now because is he going to come back in the end? I guess maybe. Well, he's going to be a bullpen piece, obviously, for the Dodgers.
I would think so.
Because Blake Snell's got it.
I think they're pretty set. Unless they move Screwball to the bullpen and put Bubich as a starter, I think they're probably going to put Bubich in the bullpen.
I mean, Emmett Sheehan's
Snell might be a bullpen guy once the playoffs start.
I
and
think
who's the other guy injured that's coming
Tyler
back?
Glasnow.
He might be a bullpen guy.
Shohei Ohtani's coming back too.
Golly.
Emmett Sheehan's been not great this year. No, Sheehan's not been great. Who's the other guy they have that's been good?
Yamamoto.
Oh, yes, Yamamoto as well.
Yeah, they got that guy. He's pretty good.
They got
He's
that.
all right.
They got that guy as well. Then there's another guy with like a 2.
I feel like Bubic would be worth DePaula for the Dodgers, or maybe Sirota. Those are both top 15 prospects in all of baseball.
I'd take those guys.
So what's in all of
in all of, not in their in all of baseball.
The Tigers got like their 6th and their 8th guy, and then like
they were both top
one.
100 prospects.
Rablowski. Justin Rablowski, he's got that 2.88 ERA for him this year. Or Roki Sasaki as well, who's been disappointing, but they have him.
Yeah, the number 5 prospect in the Dodgers was the number 25 overall prospect in all of baseball. Like the Dodgers, I mean, look, they've got a lot of money, but they are an organization that has been, building up their farm system to where they can move some of these guys.
No, how many top 100s did the Royals have? 2?
3.
Chourio.
Mitchell
still count?
Hammond.
Fell out or not?
He was in the Futures game somehow.
Again,
still is single A or whatever.
Well, no. Here's the thing.
I think Angel Gomez may have just got into the top 100. Maybe David Shields.
The damn Dodgers also big baseball has
shrink the game
because I don't know who's doing it. They're clearly paying someone with that extra money to highly rank their prospects.
Is that what it is?
It has to be.
That's the only explanation.
River Ryan is 27 years old and is a top 100 prospect in baseball.
Because he's only been pitching for a couple of years.
He's 27.
He's only been pitching for a couple of years, and so it's a different prospect when they move to a pitcher, and he's a different player now.
Erroneous.
Right.
That's not a prospect. That's a grown man.
He still has rookie status, though.
That's a grown-ass man.
Wouldn't that still be a prospect with rookie status? I don't
No.
know. I think 27 is pushing it. The only reason, though, he's still showing up is because... Now, this is where the Dodgers are smart. They've got the
he's
money.
like 3 years older than George Karlaftis. What are we doing?
That's true. But this is where the Dodgers
He's 2
have...
years older than
2
Karlaftis.
years. The Dodgers have money, but they also have a smart organization. They DFA'd Matt Beatty, and the Padres needed a warm body, so they traded for Matt Beatty, and they traded River Ryan, who was OPSing like 700 at AAA. And the Dodgers brought him in and immediately turned him into a pitcher. Looked at him and said, that's not a position player. That's a pitcher. 2 years later, he's a top 70 prospect in all of baseball as a pitcher.
2 years later, he's on AARP.
I'm just saying that's where we can complain about the money the Dodgers have, but clearly River Ryan was available for a lot of clubs out there.
It's a great name
because they got him for a guy they DFA'd.
If your name's River Ryan, you're gonna either be a country singer or a baseball player.
Is that right?
Only
2. Yeah, I think so.
A fisherman, maybe. Like you.
No, I think it's those
That was
two.
a nickname.
Yeah.
No, that's his nick. He's just Ryan. His nickname
like
is River Ryan.
Catfish Hunter had to be a baseball player.
Bobby Baseball. Just name the guy.
No, I'm convinced that big baseball is in bed with the Dodgers when it comes to these prospect rankings. I'm convinced.
You should.
It's like the all the recruiting ranking services used to be out of Texas, and whenever a guy committed to like UT, that's a 5-star right there. He decommits and goes to Oklahoma. And now we've dropped him down. He's 3-star now. He's 3-star. You know what? His 40 time, that was wind dated. Okay,
we didn't do enough research.
Wind aided 40 time. So you drop him to a 4-star.
He's the 3-star now. Actually, yeah, he went to Sooners. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know we had him with Longhorns. He was 5-star, but yeah.
Just enamored that this guy lost a star because of a win.
2 stars. Okay. Well, this is it's a made-up story, but there were accusations that kind of stuff happened.
I think it's a real story.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's real.
Yeah, and if you looked at his bench, he wasn't going all the way down. He wasn't locking.
So
he wasn't locking.
It wasn't regulation.
Yeah, you got to be better with that. You got to be able to actually. Was it Jordan Tyson that got all those reps? And it was like, did he have even one? I'm not sure he had this. And he was also bouncing it off his chest, like you're not allowed to do. Just
I'm telling you that the short dudes they got an advantage in lifting weights, bench press, and then the squat. They don't have to go down near as far.
It's what I've always said as to why I've struggled with the squat. It's not that I'm incredibly weak from the waist down, legs down.
Wow.
Mainly the legs.
You got to mark that, Darcy. Heartland Men's Health can help.
If I was 5'6",
I'm
like
just clarifying.
Sterling, if I was 5'6", like Sterling, I could squat 500 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I clarified, Sterling.
5'10",
solid 5'10". They say it's the tallest 5'10" they've ever seen.
They do, because with boots, it's 6, baby. We get to 6 feet in cowboy boots.
It's amazing that you have that attribute where you're taller, in certain shoes.
Shocker that Sterling is using 6, and that's an exaggeration.
What about in the high heels that you own and wear?
6'6".
Okay.
They're Gene Simmons 8-inch lifts.
That makes sense.
They're the Gene Simmons.
Then when you get the flow, the afro,
Then
it's
I have
actually
that,
6'9".
Yeah, and then I have the
fish tank in the lifts.
Well,
great.
Yeah, and the rescue fish.
Heck yeah, that's coy. I hope they don't break. Let's hope you walk gingerly in those. Chris Bubich.
I just want to buy the boots. For your version.
Bubich is a Dodger. So there you go. That's probably
a good move.
Yeah,
no, I mean
it's surprising. I didn't
love
know
it. I'm
that
shocked
anybody-
by it. He's gonna get injured every year.
I didn't know that anybody would.
Yeah, I didn't know he was on the market.
I mean, I would say you could still sign him in the offseason, but I bet the Dodgers just say, hey, we're going to sign you and pay you a lot to be a bullpen piece.
Yeah, because when's he due back?
Well, that's
I can't keep track of all
That's what
the
I was
boys'
looking up
injuries.
because he was injured and
He had rehab start, then
Yes,
they brought
he
him
had a
back.
setback.
Then he had another rehab start. Then he had a one after that, and then he was brought back again. So
yeah, that's what I was trying to find was the ETA, the return date for him, but I've yet to find a.
Yet to find it.
Yeah, I mean that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a nice luxury that would be for the Dodgers. 2 outs in the 8th, and you got a big Yankee lefty you got to go up against. Ben Rice, is he lefty?
Yeah.
And you just bring in Bubich with 5 pitches out of the bullpen for 1 out. Right?
A guy who last time he was a reliever had a 2.67 ERA with 39 strikeouts and 30 innings.
Who's that?
Bubich.
Yeah.
The last time he was a reliever. And
Yeah.
then as a starter last year, obviously we know what he did. He was really, really good. Yeah, it just I've said when they got Scooball, and now just another example of this. This is almost good that the Dodgers are getting everyone. It sucks for this year. Like it sucks to watch and witness and just
kind of rooting for them to win it all.
Well, but part of me goes because
even having the best players in baseball, it's hard to win it all.
Because if they do, you know what that
sport.
means? The other 29 teams might finally say, you know what? No, this
Yes,
is
that's why I'm rooting for it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you and we're lockstep.
Lockstep, baby.
Yeah, it's weird. We don't normally lockstep often.
We don't.
But
and maybe you have to forfeit an entire season for baseball to get its economics straight away. But you know what? Next summer we can just have the World Cup again. We can just pay attention to that again.
Yeah,
like
well,
we did this summer.
in the United States, right?
Hopefully Kansas City gets some USA matches.
Yeah,
next year. Yeah.
Carlos Duran, Dodgers right-handed pitcher Carlos Duran
He's coming to
is
Kansas City.
heading to the Royals for Chris Bubich. Carlos Duran is
That's just one Duran?
Yes,
Not Duran. No, it's very confusing.
Yep, he's thrown a third of an inning in his Major League Baseball career. That was last year for the A's.
Hungry like the wolf.
And he gave up 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 earned runs in a third of an inning.
Where's he rank in their prospect?
Oh man,
he doesn't. He was a guy that
does not rank.
He was signed out of the Dominican by the Dodgers. They traded him to the A's. The A's released him after last year. The Dodgers signed him to a free agent contract before this year. So
I see why. I'm looking at just the minor league baseball stats.
Yeah, how's
I
he
get
doing
it.
this year?
He's in triple. Good. 3.38 ERA.
He's figured it out.
He started 2 games. He has 2 saves, but he's more of just a bullpen piece. 37 games total.
So both of these trades have brought in guys that are going to pitch next year for him.
And maybe even this year. I mean,
61 Ks in 42 innings.
Yeah, he's obviously his whip's not great. 1.42, so either
And
he's walking
he's a
guys.
starter or no?
It looks like he's more of he's
He's a
started
reliever.
half into his career. He's played 156 games, started 82 of them. So I assume a little Steven Cruz maybe.
This year,
similar
he's-
size.
This year, 37 games, 2 starts, and that may be as an opener. Those two
That's what I was
starts,
saying. Maybe Steven Cruz, where you're.
37 games, essentially 37 games and 42 and 2/3 innings pitched. So he's a 1 inning relief guy, but he's got 61 Ks in 42 innings. So
I bet you're right. I bet we see both him and Braun this year.
brought in a guy who's 25 years old with a live arm that's striking out a lot of guys.
28 walks. So the walks clearly not great. Little
And
wild.
how many innings?
42.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, it's still 3-1 strikeout to walk. Which
Yeah,
is
no,
great.
strikeouts are phenomenal. I want to.
Yeah, it's different this year because he had, 67 in 62 innings, then 59 in 58 innings, and now 61 in 42 innings.
So it looks like he throws
So, I don't
about
know.
96.
There you go. All right, soft tosser.
Soft tosser.
I beat you to it. Yeah. There you go. Chris Bubich on the move. They bring in right-handed pitcher, bullpen guy Carlos Duran. So there you go. We'll see if they make any other moves.
I mean,
before the
honestly,
day's
it's
over.
fine. He's 25. I mean, Bubic wasn't going to help your team at all this year. I'm shocked you were able to get anything for him.
And you've got him until 2032, so he'll be pitching at the new Kauffman, so that's good.
Opening day starter.
Who do they have till 2032?
Duran. It's got team
Get
control.
to him.
He's going to be the closer in 2032.
I don't know that he'll be here in 32 months. No, he won't be here in 32 months. No.
Why? How do you know? Why do you hate?
Has he? You said he's
this guy
been up before? Or
Yeah,
no?
he made his major league debut with the A's last year.
Okay.
He pitched a third of an inning, 3 walks, 3 earned runs.
It's a minor league park, man.
That's a good point.
Had to get the bad,
maybe he's
bad
on the
outing
road,
out of the
actually, I
way.
don't know. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, now you bring him up, and now he's fine. We'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We learned a little bit there about Carlos Duran. Funniest, probably somewhere in there. And best is we're taking a break. More Zone next. done.
Could have told you that.
Yeah.
Why? What's your reason?
98-mile-per-hour pitches thrown by Paul Skeens in each of his 78 career big league starts. These are the 98-plus mile-per-hour pitches. 32, 38, 34, yada, yada, 46, 45, yada, 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 35, yada, 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 20, 40, 28, 30, 25, 35, 27, 35, 37, 22, 17, 7, 15, 0, 11, 3, 0, 9, 1, 7, 2, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0.
And you said all the numbers, didn't you?
That was a lot
Yep.
of numbers.
No, I did not. I yada yada'd a lot of yada them.
I didn't hear any yada yada.
Oh my God! How many yada yadas did I use there?
I didn't hear one. I heard
3
all
yada
the numbers.
yadas. I heard.
You can go play that back. There was yada yadas.
Wait,
I had like 42
is this-
yada yada yada.
Is this
30.
Wednesday?
Why?
I thought it was just so long. I thought we've been
Oh, is that right?
for 2
Yeah.
days.
Oh, that's so funny, man. You nailed it, Sterling. God. Do you enter parties with that
I'm
one?
laughing at myself for taking a while.
Do you start conversations at parties with that one? That's really good. Is that your opener
I've
on
never
stage?
been invited, but I would be. Yeah.
Is that the beginning of your tight five when the refrigerator opens?
Give me his like ERA in those single-digit games.
He had a 1.73 ERA with his 48 starts when his 98-mile-an-hour average fastball. Below 98 mile an hour, 30 starts, he has a 3.83.
Ooh, so this is late. This is recent.
Yeah, like
so he might be.
I yada through the 30s and 40s and 30s, so it's all the same.
Dead arm.
And then you see 20, 0, 9, 1, 7, 2, 8, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah.
So
and it's not him like learning how to pitch. It's him.
like he's not even throwing 98 anymore.
Dang.
He's thrown 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. His last 8 starts, he's thrown 5 pitches, 98 miles an hour or faster.
Wow.
And he was 30 or 40 every single game. So,
and each time he's not pitching well.
He's now up to almost a 4 ERA in his 30 starts.
Yikes.
Averaging below 98 miles an hour. So that's what I learned. Sterling, now that the jokes are done, what'd you learn? My funniest is the line Sterling used there.
I learned. I was at a Mumford & Sons guy, but I went to
go
concert.
from a Mumford & Sons concert
and
to
it
something?
was electric.
Wait, when did you go to Mumford?
Last night.
You went to a Sunday concert.
Yeah, it was great.
Where's that at?
Morton. Yeah, it was really good.
Wait, you made fun of me once for liking Mumford.
Yeah, I know. I totally hand up.
And I didn't know. I'm like, you treat them like they're Nickelback or something like that.
No, like the Lumineers. Or like
we make fun of Lumineers too.
I do, and like Noah Kahn. I don't love that style traditionally, but the show was outstanding. They put on a hell of a
different than Noah Kahn.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And maybe I'll wear those same hats.
Lumineers are the same though.
Lumineers
those two bands
could be
are the
very
same.
similar.
No, the Ho Hey thing or Hey Ho or no.
Yeah.
No, Mumford & Sons, great concert, excellent show,
Yeah.
put on a performance.
Marcus Mumford's awesome.
I've now been converted. It was great. And also found out they're not brothers.
What?
I thought
Are they
Mumford,
sons?
Well, apparently they would have had to have been at some point.
Oh.
But Mumford & Sons, I thought it was like 3 brothers.
Still are.
Right? Nope. Just 3 friends.
Yeah.
But do they have their sons with them?
No.
Oh.
It's Marcus Mumford and then like just kind of some guys.
If you would take it literally, you would have thought it was his sons.
Yeah,
playing
well,
with
I
him.
thought like
It's not Mumford and Brothers.
No, so my
It's
thought
not Mumford
process,
Bros.
I
That
thought
ruined the royal season.
I thought my thought process was like they had a dad named like Mumford, or like whose last name was Mumford.
Marcus Mumford, you knew
They
that
do have
he
a
was
dad.
the lead
I
singer,
didn't
right?
know that until last night.
They do probably have a dad with
You
the last
didn't
name
know
Mumford.
about Marcus Mumford?
Who's he
No,
married to?
I thought that.
Who's Marcus Mumford married to? Isn't he married to an actress?
Yes, I think so.
I'll look it
Rings a bell.
But so I just assumed it was like Mr. Mumford was their father.
Red Fox was his father. Anybody? Jason? No, he's not listening.
So I learned that they're not brothers.
Yeah.
But what a show! Great show.
Oh, Carrie Mulligan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Little
there
lion
you go.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cave. I said
Sorry.
Mumford & Sons' dad is Red Fox. Dang it. It's Sanford & Son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I like the comedy club.
Yeah.
What was the what'd you learn this weekend, Mick?
Learned 2 things. One, this kind of goes in line with the River Ryan thing. I learned that Jamie Lynn Ziegler, right? Meadow soprano.
Okay.
Right? Meadow. Is Lenny Dykstra's daughter-in-law.
No kidding.
For like the last 10 years. She married Cutter Dykstra. who's like a AAA coach or something like that.
Of course, John Kruk's
Cutter.
son is
No,
Cutter.
not John Kruk. Lenny Dykstra.
Sorry, Lenny Dykstra. You said Dykstra. I was thinking John Kruk for some reason.
K's and R's
I don't know
there.
why John Kruk came in my mind. Lenny Dykstra. Of course, it's Cutter.
His son is named Cutter.
Cutter.
And so they were at a game,
great.
and they were honoring. I don't know who they were honoring, but they took a shot, and they're both sitting next to each other, Jamie Lynn Ziegler and Lenny Dykstra. I had no idea. And then I also learned that you'll appreciate this. Goo Goo Dolls, their big hit Name, I Won't Tell Him Your Name, that song, is inspired by his secret relationship with MTV VJ Kennedy. Remember her back in... You don't even remember. You know the.
Do you remember there used to be VJs on MTV?
Yeah, there used to be videos on MTV.
But I remember
the video jockeys.
I don't remember the.
So that's
names.
it. Those are the two things I learned.
Yeah, MTV used to have like music on television.
Yeah, I know.
They used to.
Some
do that.
say it stood for that. Music television.
VH1 stood for what? Video Home 1.
I think hits.
Video Hits 1.
Yep.
Very hit one.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn, Michael Darcy?
I learned all of that. I also learned that
thank God. And we're better for it.
The NFL Hall of Fame game is this Thursday. Is that wild to you that it's August 6th?
It's always early like that.
I know
always
it's
every
early,
year we're
but-
like can't believe it's here.
I actually can't
also-
believe it's already August.
I can't believe it's August 2nd.
Actually,
Third.
it's third.
Man who doesn't know how time works.
I won't believe it's
Also,
August
did
2nd.
you know that they're streaming this on DAZN?
I didn't know we were doing it. Is it from 10 to 2? On Thursday? I thought it was a night game.
It is a night game.
Okay, well then that's
it's
weird.
available on Peacock and then DAZN.
Okay, well there
On
you go.
what? What's DAZN?
This show.
It's like a
It's where
streaming
a lot of
platform
boxing,
for boxing.
is on DAZN. So.
Are you saying the zone? Are you saying meow?
It's duh.
Oh, Dazn or something, right? D-A-Z-N?
Oh my gosh, it's not DAZN.
It's DAZN.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I.
DAZN.
Is it not Dazn?
Looks like DAZN.
Oh, it's DAZN.
You sure?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. There's no E. There's no O.
No, it's DAZN.
Yeah. Are we serious?
Yes.
It's Dazn, dude.
No, it's not.
Dude, don't
I'm with Sterling. That looks like
Add that
DAZN.
to the learn list.
don't try and fool me, okay?
Like gift
I don't
GIF.
think we really have to try. Very much trying
you
in that
can't
mode.
fool me. It's Dazn.
Fool me once. Fool me twice. You can't fool me again.
I'm just saying.
If you fool me 7 times, stop trying to fool me because clearly I don't understand and you're being an ass.
I swear I got
Stop
13 or
trying to fool
14
me.
or 15 more times. I'm out of here. What was the funniest from the weekend for you, Sterling?
Jared Verse, when he was talking with the Browns secondary members, said, I told Denzel and them boys in the back end, I said, hey, y'all only have to cover for 2 seconds because after 2 seconds, either the quarterback's going to be sacked or the ball's going to be getting thrown out. Does he realize that he was traded for Myles Garrett?
Yeah.
Jared Verse.
Yeah.
That's great.
He's telling all the secondary players,
Don't worry, guys.
don't worry, guys.
That's slower than what we're used to.
Now that I'm here,
Yes.
they're like, hold on. We got to
We
cover
had it
that
at
long?
1.5 with Garrett. Now it's 2.
Yeah, thanks for the warning. I guess we do have to cover that long now. Oh, God.
So I thought that was
really funny.
that was just like, okay, I'm sure Denzel's like, is this guy serious right now? He's a good player.
Yeah,
He
right.
ain't Myles Garrett.
Yeah, right. I mean, because he's doing it more with strength. Myles Garrett used, strength and also freakish athleticism when he had a Euro step on a tackle once to go get a sack. Funniest from the weekend for you, Mick?
The 2026 ACC Football Media Poll. Miami, far and away, predicted to be the winners at 165 votes. But the top 5 teams in the ACC got votes, followed by SMU, Louisville, Clemson, Georgia Tech. 11th place Florida State got 3 first-place votes. Last place, in 17th place, Stanford got 1 first-place vote in the ACC Football Media Day poll, which is a lot of media voting in that. That's 175, 82, 84, 185 people voting.
It turns out they needed 181.
Yes.
'Cause-
At least 184.
I mean,
Stanford got a vote. 17th, which I didn't know.
I'm gonna guess.
There's 17 in the ACC.
I'm gonna
It
throw a
doesn't count
dart.
Notre Dame.
I'm gonna throw a dart as to the person that voted for that. I'm gonna guess as to which team they cover.
Yeah, I'm from the Palo Alto Times. Actually, they don't talk like that.
Honestly, I know it wouldn't be part of it, but I bet Notre Dame just voted for every single team because they play.
But they're not.
I know, but they play Stanford this year, so I'm sure like, well, no, they got a vote.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
Gosh, Notre Dame's schedule. Are you serious, guys? Just
is that
what
why?
again?
Yeah.
Yet again.
Well, I thought
Surprising.
they had 16. What's the 17th team? Where'd I miss a team being added? Who knows? There's 19. No, there's 18 in the Big Ten now.
Right.
That makes no sense.
17?
When do you change your name?
17 football.
Like, when's the Big Ten change their name?
That ain't happening.
I get it, but
that ship sailed.
Because it's 8. Is it 18 with basketball because Notre Dame is there, and then 17 in football because Notre Dame isn't in the football side of it.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was, it was even with 18. Because who were the last two added? Was it Cal and Stanford? And that made it 18, not 16. Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep. And now 17.
So there you go. Stanford. Which, by the way, they're the worst in the ACC? Okay.
Well, it's all that travel.
Who knew?
Go across the country. Do that. That's what the money's for. Michael, what was the funniest from the weekend for you?
My funniest, in honor of Sterling's koi pond, there's a video on Twitter of a guy who built a roller coaster for his goldfish, and it's like going throughout different fish tanks around his apartment, and eventually ends up just getting released into another fish tank. But literally, this fish travels a good 45 seconds around this guy's apartment.
Is he out of the water?
No, he's
in
like a PVC
little
pipe.
Dude, I saw that video.
Pressurized, and he just goes all the way
I
around.
couldn't believe how long that thing was in that tube, and the entire room. It just kept going from almost like room to room, fish tank to fish tank. And then did you notice every time it would pass a certain fish tank, the fish were ready to eat it?
Yes.
But it was in that tube and it went right by. What if that thing were to break right there? That sucks. And then it landed in what? Like a small
it landed
little
like
bag
a bigger tank or something.
But it was
like
a small little tank. It was like
a smaller tank. I don't know how he fit the tube through the other aquarium.
Here's the thing. Here's the breakdown.
What's the breakdown?
This is where I come in.
Okay.
Because this sounds like fish abuse, and I am a
rescue
fish man. So to me, I'm like the PETA of this.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd fit in that little tube.
You like that bread?
I do love pita bread, man.
My funniest from the weekend is this clip that you guys remember Cameo that used to be out when you would pay people.
It's still a thing.
It's still a thing.
Wait, Word Up.
Yeah, it's still a thing.
Wait, that the artist?
Yeah,
Word
that's right.
Up.
Yep. It's still a thing, guys, and I realize it's still a thing because one of my favorites is now on Cameo, and for a certain amount of money, he will introduce your fantasy football teams and your draft order, and give you a little message to begin your fantasy football draft. Let's take a listen.
What's up, guys? It's Coach O. Soon to be football season. I know we can't wait. Check out these leagues: Jambalaya, Hush Puppies,
names,
Po' Boys, Gumbo, the old lady Queen Kelsey. Will beat you in fantasy football this year. Getting in good shape. I know you're out there running in the heat every day, running your 110s, big chest, big eyes, not bending over. Can you win the game in the third quarter? No. Can you win the game in the fourth quarter? Hell yeah. Good luck to everybody. Go Tigers.
So you can pay for Coach O to apparently Queen Kelsey is going to lose in fantasy football. There's some, I guess, league names that are Jambalaya and Gumbo, and apparently somebody was talking smack to another person about getting ready for football, running your 110s, but not being able to bend over because you're old, and they paid Coach O to say that.
We got to have him do liners for the show.
You're this Coach O. I can just do it. I mean, it's probably free if I just do it.
Dan, don't hire Danny Matthews if you ever want to get him to do liners.
That's a good point. Yeah, that would be rough. I'd have to pay a little bit more for that. But,
Jerome Tang, in case we need to throw
between
back.
you and Kadog, you guys could.
Listen to the zone. Sterling's so stupid. Don't even know how to pronounce the zone. It's so stupid. Beat your ass, some bitch. All right, so let's go to
we don't
best.
need Jim Rome either. We can just rack him. You're in the zone.
Best from the weekend. We start with you, Mick.
Yeah, this is the national anthem at the first ever women's baseball.
Was this the best?
Oh man,
in so many ways.
Do we have to play the whole thing?
No, we can bow out.
I couldn't listen.
At least
Michael's
30
got
seconds.
Oh, say, can you see by the concert light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, who's broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
Got there.
We're so gallantly streaming. And
The other two just bowed out?
Yes.
For now.
They try to cut the mics.
Well, they cut the wrong mics.
Yes, they cut the wrong mic. Thank you.
Oh,
no.
Saved us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
Big finish.
of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, so the little context there. There's 3 ladies singing.
Oh, my God.
The 2 in the background appear to be on key.
Yeah.
But this lady, Martha Reeves, just went rogue, and she's a former Motown singer in the girl group called Martha and the Vandellas.
I would rather hear the Vandellas.
And supposedly she had the bangers back in the day.
Yeah.
But maybe she's lost her fastball at age 85.
I don't know what happened. It
But
was
good for them. They're paying respect to the country, and it's not the first ever women's professional baseball game because I've seen League of Their Own, but whatever, the latest iteration
I have
of
also
that.
seen League of Their Own.
That's also my best because
and the Vandellas were not there at that first.
We need the Vandellas. Maybe those were the Vandellas,
National
although they were a
Anthem.
lot younger than Martha.
Yeah, I could not listen through the when I was watching it. I'm glad we listened to the
They
whole
took
thing. 'Cause
fan shots, and there were guys hands over their hearts just trying to hold in their laughter. It was funny.
the 2 ladies in the background, just let them go.
Yeah.
And
they just stopped at one point. They're like, I don't know how we can.
This is her ISO moment.
2 tempos.
I like when she offered.
Not my tempo.
I like when she offered the echo.
Yeah.
Also, it sounds like maybe she was flooding it. Like, stop singing. Like, they're just trying to start the car. You're flooding it.
That's just
not turning over.
It's just an advanced level of singing right
Let
there.
it sit. You're never gonna start it. Funniest or best for you, Michael?
My best.
Was that best? Funniest? I don't remember.
I think it's best.
Yeah, sure.
My best is from Reggie Wayne on Twitter. He put out, "I'm pissed. Somebody broke into my car. I'm not pissed that they broke into my car and left my Gucci glasses sitting there. I'm pissed that they broke into my car and stole my bowling shoes and didn't take my 2 bowling balls. Are my bowling balls not good enough?"
It's pretty good.
Who lost his bowling shoes out of all that?
Yeah,
Wow.
well, you can
They
get
stole
some
his bowling shoes.
I'd rather you get
My car got
bowling
broken
shoes.
into one time. Like someone stole a tie.
But
That's
not,
it?
But not your
They
bowling
stole
balls.
a few other things. They rifled through my CDs.
My best
They
from
didn't
the
like your music.
My best from the weekend is Deion Dawkins telling Kay Adams that Josh Allen now doesn't have to put it all on his back now that they have DJ Moore, since James Cook no longer exists, apparently. James Cook has never existed there. So Josh Allen with DJ Moore doesn't have to put it all on his back now.
Finally,
Best for you,
he's there.
Sterling?
He's there. That it sounds like Cyrus Allen's injury is not quite as serious as we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as serious, Allen. I'm sorry. Break.